afternoon, and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it, and a fine Ballsmic Wednesday to you and yours. Also known as the early signing period. Panic! Everybody scream! We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming. I cut myself off. That's always fun. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show, WTSM app for your mobile devices. And we're on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. And a good day to you. ESPN Tallahassee on YouTube. If you want to email, you can. I got a couple quality emails over the last 48 hours. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. That's awesome. So, Willie Taggart's on this hour with me. And I look forward to bringing you that interview, and our thanks to our friends at the Metro Deli in downtown Tallahassee, right there on Monroe, the heart of downtown, right by Park. Come on, go over to Metro Deli. Those people are good people. I can say that honestly. I know all of them. And not only are they good, the food is damn delicious. And they stepped up at the last moment when we realized Willie Taggart was going to be making his debut on the Jeff Cameron Show, for which I'm honored. And they said, we would like to sponsor that. We want to be a part of the Jeff Cameron Show. We listen every day. We appreciate what you do, and we appreciate Willie Taggart. And so we want to sponsor it, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Help support those who help support the show. That's the Metro Deli. So Willie will come on in an interview I did around 10 o'clock this morning with him. And we've been waiting to have Willie on, of course, and he's been a busy man. And I think that some people will view today as a failure, his first 2 weeks. I mean, maybe some lunatics will. But, you know, this was always going to be a really, really big uphill climb and a salvage job. And so we'll see how it plays out. You got today and you got tomorrow. And what's it go through Friday, Tom? You know, I don't care about these things.
Yeah, it goes through Friday.
I mean,
yes.
I do care, but I only care about the results afterwards. I'm not hour by hour, minute by minute freaking the hell out about this stuff, especially because this isn't the end. You've got till February, so we'll see what happens.
Most people don't want to know how the sausage is made for a recruiting class, right?
So I guess it hasn't gone as as swimmingly as some folks would have liked it to today. Just judging by my mentions and emails and what I see in the moments that I dare to venture over to one of the recruiting websites. Like if I go over to those places and I go, let's go to warchant.com, and I click, I go, they're all freaking out. The place is on fire. Run. And then I leave. I go away.
Run, big run for your life, get some help.
That's right. And then I'll go over to one of the other sites and I'll check on that, and the same thing's going on. And so I just,
Run, big run for your life, get some help.
So that's what I do, and I just go, all right, well, it's going to be okay. But I do think you're going to enjoy listening to Willie. Man, I love it. It's the quiet confidence. It's the leadership. It's the focus. It's the identity. It's the understanding of where he's going, how he got here, the joy of being here, what it means to be Florida State's head football coach, and the appreciation that goes along with it, and his efforts now as he's going through and trying to salvage something of this recruiting class that the previous staff decided to let fall into the ocean. And in addition to doing all of that, trying to find the right guys to be part of his staff. It's going to be an interesting, fun ride for all of us to go on, but I've got faith, and it's going to be interesting. But he's got a lot on his plate, so him making time for us today was a good thing, and you'll hear that here in about 15 minutes, 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, again, the talking points coming out of the weekend from the kids that came on campus to take a look at Florida State under Willie Taggart, we're all positive that the vibe is completely different than it was, that Willie talks to the players like he's, one of them, one of the people. He's not somebody that's kind of in an ivory tower, and you get to for, this period of time, and then you go through the rest of your visit. He's with you, man. He's telling you about what he's about. And then you hear about what practice is like. Literally, if you walk outside of practice, you can hear what practice is about.
Yeah, they're having fun.
They're having fun. There's music going.
Now is the time to do that, by the way. If you're going to institute change within practice structure, but you're not actually implementing the new scheme or doing things up in individual drills or anything differently in individual drills, then all you can really do is kind of put your stamp on the way things are going to be. A little bit looser. That doesn't mean less discipline. It just means certainly a different feel to how practice is on a daily basis. So right now it's a bowl game. You're getting prepared for a nothing game, an exhibition game against Southern Miss in Shreveport. So he wanted to lighten the mood with everything, with the way everything had gone down, and I think he certainly accomplished that. Players are having fun in preparations for the for the bowl game, and so to a man, they're all saying that. We'll see what works and what doesn't in that bowl game. It's a weird, convoluted situation. But what I'm most eager to find out is who he's bringing in at DC, who he's going to bring in to make up the rest of his staff. That's really everything that we're looking for here, and you can't know that until, frankly, we get closer to bowl season ending and the new year starting. And I ask him that question. You'll hear his answer as to when he expects to have this staff completed. It's one of the things I ask him in the interview.
Yeah, of the things you asked him in the interview, I found it interesting, his thoughts on offensive football and the steps that he took to transition from, a Harbaugh-like offensive system, which we all know it's a little bit more slow, it's more power-based, it's about physicality, not tempo, and then instituting something that we see like what the Gulf Coast offense has been at USF and what it was at Oregon, and what steps did he take and why. The reason I like this interview a lot is not just because we have it, and so you're going to promote whatever you have. I mean, I honestly like it because it's about philosophies, both offensive philosophies and recruiting-wise. Who are you?
Yeah.
He can talk about general topics when he's first being introduced to the media and getting those first wave of questions, and that's about, what the mottos are going to be, the tenets of the program, and what the immediate future is going to be about. But who are you, and why are you the way you are? That's some of the things he gets into today.
Well, by the way, what I like about, I guess if you want to call it, since he does, the Gulf Coast offense, is that while you are, by the way, it hasn't always been the same. He didn't run that at Western Kentucky. So for people that don't remember his time at Western Kentucky, and I understand why you wouldn't, he didn't run tempo. He didn't run spread. It was a lot of double tights, a lot of power stuff there. Even at USF, when he switches, when he realizes they're not having success, he's got to change things. It gets off to a rugged start because he's he takes over for a 3-9 program. Skip Holtz had just run it into the ground, and so he thinks, okay, well, we're going to run the football. Same type of stuff he did at Western Kentucky. He learned under Jack Harbaugh and believed in very much what Jack Harbaugh believes, Jim Harbaugh, Harbaugh's in general. Run the football, throw off a play action, a lot of power. He tries to do that. It doesn't really work at USF. He doesn't have the personnel to do it, but what he does have is a really athletic quarterback who can really move, and he thinks, well, my players are asking me to do this. Maybe we should speed things up. Maybe we should transition and play to our personnel, and he makes the shift. Well, they're even faster at Oregon last year than they were at USF, and yet when you watch them play, the power in the run game, the power principles are all still there. He's still going to do that, and that's the part I like.
Well, and that's something like, for example, when you watched the Auburn team we played in the national title game, that dive principle that they ran, It wasn't finesse.
No, that's not finesse.
It was about being
right
able
at you.
to dictate terms and get them into 2nd and 6 and 2nd and 5. And if it's even shorter than that, that's even better. But if you're going to win first down, guess what? We're up the line. We're doing it again. Or we might run a counter, or we might throw a quick pass. But you don't have time to get new personnel on the field or get your signals in.
Right, and that's the whole thing.
How many times have we had problems being a defense against a system like that? And not getting our checks in, our signals in, and we're trying to do regular substitution patterns against a modern offense.
Well, and here's the whole thing. It gets real easy to watch, and we were a long way off from watching it this particular version, but winning first down is everything for both sides against an offense like that. If you win first down, you dictate terms as a defense. If you win first down on offense, you dictate terms to the defense. So we'll see. By the way, I do want to touch on one thing when it comes to recruiting today. Not just one thing, but at the outset of the show here, before we get into this interview. Florida State did get the commitment, and it started very early this morning from one Robert Cooper, and that is that massive 350-pound defensive tackle, trench monster. Robert Cooper said yes, and it was important to get him. And there are a couple things about that. The word was that Robert Cooper, Alabama, was making a big-time move to get Robert Cooper to flip from Florida State and go to Alabama. And if you get a kid of this size and this talent and a kid that Alabama wants in the trenches, that's a formidable threat to the recruitment. And you could have gotten off to a disastrous start if you didn't get him to commit. And Willie recognized that and got him to commit. And I think that's a real good sign. That's, first of all, you know what I believe. I talk about this on the air all the time. It's about the line of scrimmage. All the bells and whistles are wonderful. The other positions, the skill positions, are sexy. But these games are won with the offensive and defensive line. And so you get a monster like that to commit, and you stave off Alabama and others that are trying to get him to flip. That's a real good sign. No matter what happens with the rest of today, this Wednesday, what we get, that was huge. And I think down the line we're going to look back on that and be very, very pleased. So Robert Cooper, the big defensive tackle, did say yes, and that is a big deal. And I think that's his first big hit, if you will.
Yeah, and currently Amari Gaynor, who, he went into his home to, say, listen, everything's going to be all right here. Stay the course. We want you. He's currently in the middle of his signing ceremony. So, he's somewhere in town. It's not Kraft Nissan. It's not that car dealership, but I would go to Kraft Nissan, and you should too. But that's somebody who I think there's no surprise here. He's not playing three-card Monty. There's a Florida State helmet on the table where he's going to sign his letter of intent to Florida State. And then tonight, well after the show is done and on West Coast time in the evening, about 8:30 local time, there's a 5-star defensive back named Woodbay is his last name.
Jaden Woodbay,
That's
a 5-star safety who was or verbally committed to Ohio State. They think tonight at 8:30 may very well be coming to Florida State. That's huge.
In about 2.5, 3 weeks' time, Willie Taggart will have brought in a massive recruiting visit weekend, and that was to look at not only some of the players that we have right here that are going to be signing today, but also, his Oregon commits from the Tampa Bay area and a couple other high-profile players to say, here's what we're about. So he got that done, and he might have flipped a couple of kids or at least had them thinking about Florida State more than they possibly were before, as there was no communication between the prior staff and some of these top-flight targets. Willie's doing yeoman's work without a full staff to help him, and that's just the long and short of it.
Yeah, so for Wednesday, you have the Amari Gaynor signing that's happening right now. We mentioned Jaden Woodbay for 8:30 tonight. Friday, as this is the early signing period, goes through today through Friday. Friday, they're expected to maybe get Isaiah Bolden. I think that's going to happen, the 4-star defensive back.
One of the Tampa kids committed to Oregon, to Willie Taggart, and is likely to follow him here.
5-star wide receiver Terrence Marshall is another target for FSU. That's Friday at 3:30.
That would be a get. That would be a surprise at this point, right?
4-star cornerback Anthony Lighton, already an FSU commit. So, get that signed and done. Already in, of course, is Robert Cooper, whom I just mentioned, and the offensive lineman, Christian Armstrong, has signed his letter of intent, and he is in this class as well. Some of the kids that I think a lot of people were hopeful today Florida State would sign but did not get. Rosendo Lewis is the linebacker, a 3-star kid. Godspeed, you want to go to South Carolina, son. Okay, he's going to South Carolina. Emory Jones, the quarterback, who I think Florida State came in on very, very late, did not expect to get. The staff did not expect him to get him. He goes to Florida. James Cook, Dalvin's brother, stays committed to Georgia, signs today with them. And so, we'll see. Not expected to sign till February, a whole host of other kids. So we'll wait. There is still the February signing.
Yeah, this was initial wave. That's what made this thing so difficult. If it was about National Signing Day and only National Signing Day, then the mandate for Willie would not have been as up to time as it was. When he set foot in Tallahassee, he couldn't wait to get on the road to the next town to talk to the kids that he needed to talk to make this class work. You need cornerstones, and you need people to reach out to their colleagues across the country, if you will, and say, hey, this is where it's at right now. You need to come check out. I know you're committed elsewhere, but we need you to come here in January and just see what Willie's about. Trust me. And that's what the next 6 weeks are going to be, and that should be pretty fun because I think they're going to yield results that will make people smile, given how behind we were this recruiting cycle.
And if they don't, they don't. We'll find out what that means. I mean, obviously, that'll set you back a little bit. It can happen. I mean, there is the other side of that coin. It could happen. I just have faith in him as a recruiter, and I'm willing to live through a tough situation for a year. Now, if we're still struggling next year to get everybody we want, then that's a different talking point. But for now, I'm fine with it. Speaking of which, we talked to Willie Taggart this morning. You'll hear that interview next. Our thanks to our friends at Metro Deli for sponsoring that. That's up next. Stay tuned. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on earth, can give you the best year-end deal on earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
.com. Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and December is here, and that means huge inventory reduction pricing on remaining 2017 Nissans. New Nissan Versa starting at just $10,995, and discounts on the baddest new truck in America, the Nissan Titan, up to $10,000. The deals are so hot, we ran out of 2017 Rogue S models, but don't worry, Kraft Nissan is going to give you a Rogue SV model for the price of an S, and you pick up a power seat, iKey, and alloy wheels at no charge. I'm telling you, the best selection on remaining 2017 models is now at Kraft Nissan. And you folks that wait each year for the best price on model year closeout, it's here. And if you haven't heard, Kraft Nissan is now a full-line Nissan commercial vehicle dealer. So buy that new Titan, Armada, or NV commercial van. Take advantage of accelerated depreciation on your 2017 tax return. Plus, all new Kraft Nissans come with our exclusive lifetime warranty and 2 years or 20,000 miles of free oil changes. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Price includes dealer preparation charge.
WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source, knows now is a time of true excitement for Nole fans everywhere. That's why WarChant.com is especially proud to announce its newest team member, senior writer Corey Clark. Combine Corey's expertise with owner Gene Williams and managing editor Ira Schoffel, and WarChant.com boasts nearly 50 years of experience covering the team you love. It's Taggart time in Tallahassee, and that means now is the perfect time to sign up for your free 30-day trial. From National Signing Day to March Madness, WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Might I suggest the chicken taco salad from Bandito's Burritos, my friend?
The holiday season is officially here, and Harry's is bringing back their biggest deal ever to Clayman Plaza in downtown Tallahassee. Check out Harry's featured limited holiday specials. Harry's Holiday Trio includes a grilled medallion filet topped with fried lobster and shrimp and accented with a New Orleans sherry cream sauce, all accompanied by their classic mashed potatoes and green beans. You have to try the blackened brie, a velvety brie cheese topped with Harry's Creole cranberry chutney, served alongside buttered crostinis. And don't forget to scoop up some holiday gift cards. For every $100 in Harry's gift cards you purchase, they will give you a $30 bonus gift card for free. Visit Harry's downtown in Clayman Plaza, or for more info, go online at hookedonharrys.com.
Good food, good times, and all the flavor of New Orleans at Harry's Seafood Bar and Grill.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting, No more.
Football coach
That's right.
at Florida State
More
University.
watching, less
Willie
washing.
Taggart. And
Save hours
Coach, I
of
was at your
valuable
press
time when
conference,
you
so
sign
I know
up
it doesn't get
not
old
doing
for you
laundry
to
with
hear
Easy Laundry
Florida
Service
State
from Wash
head
Around the
football
Clock.
coach,
Whether it's dry
Willie
cleaning or
Taggart.
just
How
plain
great is that,
laundry,
right?
Wash Around the Clock's Easy Laundry Service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net. Wash Around the Clock.
The big game is almost here, but you can't afford to go because ticket prices are through the roof. Don't worry, we got your back. Anytix.com offers you the lowest price tickets, guaranteed. Anytix.com doesn't mark up tickets. Anytix.com has zero. That's right, no buyer, seller, or service fees. For a small monthly fee of $9.99, you get access to all their wholesale tickets. Go to Anytix.com today. That's Anytix, TIXX. Enter the coupon code ESPN Tally and get 20% off your subscription. Anytix.com, changing the way you buy tickets.
What
am I going to do about
him into the fold during this process?
It was huge. You know, he's a great football player, and I think we all know when if you're trying to win a championship, it starts in the trenches. You know, and to get a guy of his caliber to stay committed to us and join us and be a part of this was really big for us. It was so important. Again, one of the guys I had to get out and see ASAP. You know, as we continue to build this recruiting class up, he was top notch, but he's a kid that always wanted to be here too, and he showed that. You know, he's a great kid.
How difficult has it been, Coach, to transition at a time in which you do have this new early signing period that's been put into place? You have the challenge of that, trying to salvage a class, for lack of a better term, but also, of course, you're having to put together your staff on the go, and we're in bowl season. There's just so much going on, and as you said, you had to hit the ground running. Take us through this transition. How difficult has that been?
It's tough, just because it's something new, you know, and until you go through it, you don't necessarily know the ins and outs on how you want to really do certain things. But usually when you come in, you try to evaluate your current roster to see what you need, and then you have time, you know, to go out there and find your needs. Where now it's really tough, and then when you find some new guys, it's hard because you hadn't really built the relationship with them, you know. So that part of it makes it a lot tougher than usual. But it is what it is. You live, you learn, and you adjust. Kind of like in football, it's sudden change, and you keep it moving, you know. So, but I go back to Florida State is Florida State. A lot of kids grow up and want to be here, you know. I think right now it's just a matter of who the coaches are, who's going to be able to coach them, and those kids want to know that, and rightfully so, and you want to do right by them, you know, and make sure that they have all the answers. So I think a lot of kids will hold off because of all the uncertainty across the country with coaches, and it's probably the right thing for a lot of them to do.
We're talking with Florida State head football coach Willie Taggart on the Jeff Cameron Show. And Coach, you've mentioned that in recruiting, it's your job to recruit over players, in a sense, and it's their job to try to keep their job, obviously. And I think it's fascinating at a time like this. We're talking about recruiting, obviously. It's a fascinating way to put it, because you obviously have to connect with kids to be able to convince them, especially when right now you're having to sell your vision. We don't have a staff completely in place, and so you have to sell your vision. Just had a big recruiting weekend, and you got to connect with guys on a real level, and yet you're telling them straight up that I'm looking for the guy that's going to replace you. I guess take us through your recruiting philosophy, how you're able to do that. We all know certainly that relationship is that you wouldn't be in that young man's living room if he wasn't also going to be an asset to the program, and yet you have to connect on a real level. So I guess just talk about that process and your philosophy in recruiting.
Well, I told our current guys, and I always tell our recruits, my job is to recruit guys to come take their jobs, and it's on them to keep their jobs. And I think we all realize that's what it takes to play in the NFL. All these kids want to play in the NFL, but it also make your team better from a competitive standpoint. You know, guys got to understand that they can't take a day off, or that guy behind them is plenty good enough to come in and take their jobs. And the kids out of high school, they want to come and play, and these kids are so much more developed than what they were back in the days. And when you say that, you also have to give them an opportunity to come in and take somebody's job. So I think it's fair to everyone. And one thing I pride myself on is not allowing the kid to blame me for them not playing. You know, they're going to have an opportunity, and it's going to be on them to go out and compete and earn the right to be the starting the starting player, or earn the right to go take someone's job. So, and it usually works for us. You know, kids like being open and honest, and also they like the fact that there's no favoritism. You know, the best man going to play.
Coach, it's interesting. I look back at your career, both as a player, for people that don't know, when you ended your career as a player, you basically led what is now the FCS. You left as the all-time leading rusher, and as a quarterback. And so people know that obviously you saw the importance in making a defense defend all 11 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I've seen over your career, you've done it both ways. You know, some people kind of maybe associate a kind of a power run game with Jim Harbaugh. You're connected to Jack Harbaugh and Jim Harbaugh and those guys. And yet, so you leave Western Kentucky after turning them around. You don't immediately run tempo and spread things out at USF, but you adjust after a tough season. And then you get them turned around. And then last year at Oregon, that's even faster than what you ran at USF. I guess, can you take us through that period, your offense, the evolution of your offensive philosophy?
Well, we, when I went to South Florida and we struggled the first 2 years scoring points, and felt like we have some talent, especially the second year. They were young. You know, the first year it was tough, but the second year we had some talent. They were young, and then the games that we did score points in and we won, we were in 2-minute mode. And for me, it was like our guys were screaming to me that, Coach, we need to go faster. We need to do these things. You know, so that off season, we went out and studied a lot of teams that were doing up tempo. We studied Auburn, Clemson, Oregon, Ole Miss, Baylor, and what we ended up doing is kind of put it all together, you know, and came up with what we wanted to do with the offense, but also keeping some of the pro style principles, the West Coast principles, in place as well, and kind of all put it together, and it worked out tremendously for us. It allowed the athletes that you have to be in space, and it put the defense in a predicament to where they got to try to defend one or the other. You can't do both, and if you got the pieces in place, you can take advantage of a lot of the mismatch that you have. And it's been good for us. Having one of the most explosive offenses over the last 3 years has been good, and it's really been good because you went to two different places and did it. So it's been fun, and it's simple, and it allows our guys to play fast and putting our athletes in space.
And I would imagine, Coach, I know that right now you haven't been able to do it necessarily, but that's what you're going to want to apply here, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it just works, and the beauty of it, you don't have to have a certain kind of player in order to run the offense. You know, and which was key for me personally is that you don't have to be a dual threat to run the offense. You know, as a quarterback. Because it can help one way or another. We just find the right pieces and put the offense around the guys that we have, you know. But I do know here and after watching some practices, we have some toys to work with.
Yeah, you got to obviously be excited about all the shiny new toys that you see out there, and obviously you're in the process of trying to bring in some more. Have you been able to, you brought a practice, have you been able to, or even wanted to yet, I guess, implement new concepts, if not physically, I guess for mental reps, or are you just staying away from that until the bowl game's over?
Well, I'm staying away from it until the bowl game over. You know, I go out and practice and watch and just fantasize about what we can do with some of these guys out here, you know. And some of the guys ask me, when can we put the offense in? And I told them we got to finish this season off strong, you know. And it's a big time bowl game for us coming up, and expect for those guys to go out and play the way that Florida State's supposed to play, you know, in this season in a great way, and have some positive momentum going into the off season.
So no changes, nothing in terms of situational drills or anything at this point? No,
not at all. You know, I'm in an evaluation process and evaluating everyone, and it's actually been great. You get a chance to do that from players and coaches. You know, you get to evaluate guys and actually see them work rather than coming and getting on the board and trying to tell you something. You can actually see exactly how they do things. So it's been fun watching and being able to evaluate your team. Usually you don't get this opportunity. At least I haven't yet. It's been the first time where I've taken over a program where we're in a bowl game. So it's been fun. Been a fun adjustment for me.
Final thing, Coach, and we're talking to Willie Taggart, head football coach at Florida State University here on the Jeff Cameron Show. When do you envision, of course, people get anxious, especially from afar. They see, gosh, the staff's not completely in place yet, and I'll talk on the air and say, well, you know, there are bowl games still going on. There are coaches still at their respective schools. So I guess, do you have a kind of a ballpark idea as to when you expect the staff to be completed?
I like to have the staff completed by the new year. You know, and like you said, there's a lot of guys that we're looking at and that are interested that are still in bowl games, and there's some guys that I know will be joining us soon. But I hope to have our staff completed by the new year. You know, but it's really important that we get the right fit in here for Florida State University, and not just any and everybody to come in here. So. Got to get the right fit. Got to get guys that's going to be great mentors to our players, and guys that want to be here, and guys that's going to embrace what Florida State is all about.
Coach, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I know we'll get to do it again here down the line. I know it's an incredibly busy day for you. I wish you the best of luck, and it's great to have you on the Jeff Cameron Show, Coach Taggart, and we'll talk again soon. Best of luck.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Jeff, and go Noles, and have a great day if you want to, buddy.
Absolutely. Take care, Coach. Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye. That's Willie Taggart, head football coach at Florida State University, his maiden voyage on the Jeff Cameron Show, which for me is an honor, and it's a pleasure to talk to him. I look forward to do so frequently as we move forward. We'll come back and let's let that sit for a second and comment on it momentarily. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor, can give you the #1 year-end deal. Let us show you how to get tax savings on the toughest tractors on earth and get up to $7,400 in discounts along with Mahindra's 7-year warranty. Plus, get an Emax 22 with mid-mower for just $134 a month.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Her and the kids. It's even 25% off Nike for the family. We're open right up until 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve, so you can make this the best Christmas ever. Goodies. What will new bring out in you? Goodies is part of our Stage family. Offer exclusions apply.
Tired of your normal 2-piece kit? Build your own kit with Makita and Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Buy a 5 amp-hour starter pack and choose 2 free Bear Makita tools. If all you need is an impact driver and recip saw, then that is your kit. You also receive a 3-year warranty on lithium-ion tool and battery. Check out other Makita residential construction specials as well. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays 8 a.m. to noon.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
You knew the risks when you decided to drive drunk. There could be a crash. People could get hurt or killed. But that didn't stop you, did it? You knew you could get arrested. You could incur huge legal expenses, and you could possibly even lose your job. You were well aware of the consequences of driving drunk. But one thing's for sure. You were wrong when you said it was no big deal. Drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
The morning they've been waiting for is almost here. But don't worry if your Christmas tree could still use a little more love. Walmart's got your back with a great collection of last-minute gifts. The kids will be thrilled to find favorites like Barbie Dreamhouse and Google Home Mini under the tree. Wow. And with Walmart's everyday low prices, you can bring even more joy to the big day. So use the Walmart app or head to your local store to bring the holidays home today.
It's Golic and Wingo. I know we talked about Carson Wentz as your midseason MVP, and Tom Brady's name certainly goes there for what he's doing. But if Russell Wilson doesn't put on a cape every single week, they're in trouble. And they're just a bad O-line. But Russell Wilson's ability to escape Mike and find and do things on the run has been ridiculous.
Golic and Wingo, weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Giants make a trade to get third baseman Evan Longoria from the Rays. He will leave Tampa Bay after 10 years. The Rays will get outfielder Denard Span and 3 prospects. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred says today he had no idea the Marlins' new owners would start trading players to save money.
The new ownership group has been in place for a few short months. I've said this before. I doubt that you're going to agree with me, but it's why they make chocolate and vanilla. I think that this group deserves a fair opportunity to demonstrate that they have a long-term commitment to winning.
Rob Manfred on the Dan Le Batard Show here on ESPN Radio. Orioles GM Dan Duquette says if he doesn't get any better offers by tomorrow for third baseman Manny Machado, he will pull Machado off the market. Point guard Isaiah Thomas still hasn't played for the Cavaliers, but he's expected to practice fully with the team for the first time on Saturday and Sunday. He's recovering from a hip injury. Thomas was traded from Boston to Cleveland back in August.
No matter what your budget is, take the JCPenney Holiday Challenge and find surprising gifts at even more surprising prices. Save on toys, apparel, and name brand gifts your family will love. Come in the store or go to jcp.com and get everything on your list for less than you think. JCPenney.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hope you liked that. It was good to talk to Willie Taggart, and we'll talk to him again moving forward. We'll wait for him to try to procure what he can in his recruiting class on into February, and obviously we'll all anxiously await spring. I'm sure I'll talk to him before then. And maybe by then he will have gotten some sleep. I don't mean that as a derogatory thing. It's just that's a tired dude. He's already low-key. He's already kind of quiet to begin with. That's his demeanor. But then add into the fact that he's exhausted.
Been working the phones, been logging the frequent flyer miles, although, when it's a private jet, those don't, go to your account or anything. You're just flying on the jet.
But you know how it is. When you're flying and you're tired.
Oh.
For whatever reason, flying makes us all exhausted. All you're doing is sitting there.
Right. Well, it's the stress, man.
It's the long drives, too, man. Long drives make you tired, too.
Long drives, and, well, yeah, man, with these regional budget meetings, I'm a little worn down.
Yeah.
Well, and
tough times.
Well, but he's got to go to kids, and he's going to get fired if he doesn't get these kids to say yes by and large. I mean, there's that stress.
Well, down the line, yeah. Not initially.
Not now.
Yeah.
As some may have you believe.
Oh, man. I never thought I'd say this, but the New York Times wrote something flattering about Jameis Winston. Hey, everybody, NewYorkTimes.com. It's hell is frozen over. Jameis Winston labeled as outstanding. What? The New York Times? What? Headline reads, and I got to give credit where credit's due, Victor Mather writes the article. Something I've been screaming from the mountaintops. Jameis Winston is having a great season. The Bucs are not, is the name of the article. Interesting read, certainly, as you can go through there and look at these numbers. It's been a microcosm. Monday's game was a microcosm of the season for him, where he's playing well and the team loses anyhow. His completion percentage, interception percentage, adjusted yards per attempt, quarterback rating are all career bests currently. And yet here the Bucs sit at 4-10. And they talk about the fact that he walked into a tough situation where the team before he got there was 2-14 with Josh McCown and Mike Glennon under center. He quickly got them turned around to 6-10, 9-7 in his first 2 years. But unfortunately, this year we've watched it all go backwards. And yet Winston's numbers this season are very, very similar, if not better, than Matt Ryan's, Ben Roethlisberger's, Russell Wilson's, and Tom Brady's. I've talked about the quarterback ratings and all the different measurements, if you will, being similar to that of Drew Brees as well. It's amazing. Winston's career, obviously, is still in its early stages. But his lifetime quarterback rating is 87.3, if that's your thing, which is within a point of rating, say, Andrew Luck or Dan Marino through this stretch.
Right.
It's, you're looking at all-time greats. Now, problem is they're not winning games this year, and everybody wants to place a lot of blame, and I get that. But there are a lot of reasons for that. And I think one of the things that you always notice when you look at these numbers and when you find situations like this where a guy's playing well in an important position but the team's losing, it's just another reminder, man. Ultimate team game. You got to have things go right. People got to do their jobs around you. I don't care if you're a great quarterback. You're just not going to win games if you can't run the ball, can't properly protect. If you're a sieve on defense, just not going to win games.
There's no doubt, too, that, if you want to talk about quarterbacks, over the decades, that the game is different now. It's more quarterback friendly. But here's something that, kind of flies in the face of that. I get that sometimes sacks are, a function of good coverage or quarterback making a poor decision, but by and large, if there's more of them, that means that your offensive line isn't doing its job. Peyton Manning, in his first 3 seasons, was sacked quite infrequently. In fact, infrequently compared to Jameis, that Jameis has been sacked 31 more times than Peyton Manning was in
fewer
games, because he's got 2 more to go this year. Peyton played all 48 his first 3 seasons. Jameis obviously missed 3 this year. He's got 2 to go this season. So in 5 fewer games, Jameis Winston has been sacked 31 more times than Peyton had, and that's to say nothing of quarterback hits. Matt Ryan, from an era somewhere in between, that late 90s and where we are today, Jameis has been sacked 28 more times than Matt Ryan was at this point in his career in 3 fewer games played. And then a most recent example would be Carr. That's Derek Carr, not David. I doubt that Jameis has been sacked.
No, that was an all-time record.
Less frequently than David Carr. But Derek Carr, who people point to and they pointed to last year as somebody who is an up-and-comer, Jameis has been sacked 16 more times than Carr was in 2 fewer games at this point in both of their respective careers.
Well, and I would also note that, by the way, that particular Carr has seen a screeching halt to the forward progress of his career currently because his yards per attempt and everything else he adjusted has been terrible this year. He is check down Charlie compared to the guy you saw throwing down the field. He's never actually had as many yards per attempt as Jameis Winston. But he did throw the ball a little bit more frequently down the field than he's currently doing.
Yeah, bottom line, if Jameis plays the next couple of weeks, he'll be sacked 40 more times than Peyton was at this point in his career. And he's got better numbers, at this point. Again, and he's only age 23. Peyton came out when he was older. So that's the thing here. If you're going to argue for the bright side, it's that Jameis has been hit a lot. He hasn't had balance in his offense. He hasn't had weapons consistently in his 3-year career, and he's not scared. He's still not scared. He's producing. He still can turn in a performance like he did on Monday night, which was exceptional.
Nearly perfect.
It was transcendent. It reminded me of the Monday against Pitt. It really did. And for 3+ quarters, he's 16 of his first 18 with a couple of drops.
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
What are we talking about here?
The problem is, though, I don't think it's sustainable right now. I'm fearful for him. What's going to happen in these next 2 games? You got 3 offensive linemen out. You've got your tight ends out. You've got injuries across the board. It's just a situation where you're the people you can throw to are limited. The weapons you have and those protecting you are depleted greatly. I just don't really know how you're going to have success, especially when you're going up against Carolina.
That's all he knows, though. By and large, the whole weapons thing was new and it was great, except we couldn't run the ball. It was that New England first half. That's the game where I circle this year and I go, man, I wish you could have done that one differently. But the thing about NFL quarterbacks, and I know you've been screaming this from the mountaintops, so I'm not trying to take your point.
No.
But I'll echo it. And that's, even the Bradys and Roethlisbergers of the world. There's going to be a week or 2 a season at minimum. But
where they play poorly.
You go, what was that? Is he done? And people overreact even for Brady against Kansas City on a Monday night a couple of seasons ago.
I did. I overreacted.
You can have performances as one of the elite quarterbacks that are laughers and make you look small. But by and large, what do you do?
Something's wrong, right?
Right.
And this is the other thing in the league. I mean, look, so Aaron Rodgers comes back from a shoulder injury and broken collarbone. He clearly doesn't have it. He throws 3 picks. Did some good things, but he threw 3 picks, and 2 of them were really costly. And they lose that game, and we're not going to bring up the shoulder. And Jameis has played hurt much of this year, and he's still got the good numbers in total. But I think it's true. When you venture away from your squad, we talk about this a lot with the Knowles, and really fan bases everywhere do this. We get hyper-focused tunnel vision on the teams that we love, the players that we care about, and we're invested emotionally and otherwise. And we sometimes forget that some of the things that plague them as an individual or as a team also are problems for other teams. And it's not, it's just myopic. And so I just think that when you look at these first 3 years, he's been nothing short of a raging success. And there's proof in the pudding with those numbers that suggest he's going to be very, very good. The Bucs are not currently, and they have to do a lot of assessing as to how that's going to change moving forward, whether that's Dirk being told to have a good day, whether or not they make changes behind the scenes. Certainly that could be a whole new coaching staff. That could just be changes to the defense. It might be a lot of things, but we'll see going into next year. I will say this. I will project this. I think this is a blip on the radar bad year. I think the Bucs, who were trending upwards the last 2 years, will go back to trending upwards again next year. A, there can't possibly be as injury-riddled as they've been this year. This is as bad a luck as you're going to see for a team. And then B, they will make some changes that will have a positive impact.
Yeah, you have to have a culture change there. I think some of the guys you may have signed off the free agency wire aren't the best culture people. And when you face adversity early in the season, that's, that's toxic immediately. And obviously the coach and quarterback relationship hasn't been great. I don't care what they say at the dais. That's just true. It's not been great. And I think the hard part is that you can't prove it right now to somebody who wants to see or sees what they want to see. And they see Jameis as either a below-average quarterback or a disaster. The latter of those two is ridiculous. The former of the two, he gives you moments where it looks like that, but by and large, you look at his career, it's been above average. He's trending in a great direction. The number one thing for me is the ball security, and it's not the interceptions. 22 fumbles in the last 2 seasons. In 22, 12 this year, 10 last year, 6 in his rookie season. Some of that has to do with sacks and blindside pressure that, he's being bombarded with. Some of that has to do with, man, the play's over.
Yeah, you got to get on the play. He was great the other night in realizing that and taking sacks. I think that will improve when you realize that that's just something you can't do. You got to take a sack. Sometimes they win. Those guys are paid too. Defensive coordinator's good. Sometimes they know what you're going to run, and play's over. Either throw that thing into the 15th row or wear it and be done with it. But he's in year 3. He's 23. I think he'll learn that.
But there are things that we've seen this year, and Frank, I'll be honest, I watched every snap of Jameis' season much closer before the injury settled in because, it plagues your decision-making when you can't make certain throws. Because that might be open, but I can't do that. So I'm going to try this throw that's more dangerous, but I know I can make this throw and give myself a fair chance. he still has a little ways to come in reading things pre-snap, post-snap at the NFL level and finding that guy who's open immediately. Like he did at Florida State. I mean, he could see the defenses, understand the principles.
As a man amongst children in that game.
Right, and he would make mistakes out of recklessness, I think, because the game bored him at times. In the pros, I think when he makes decisions that are mistakes, it's because he's confused a little bit. So he's still got a little ways to come, but he has the acumen to do it. He certainly does.
That's unquestionable. Let's go back to something real quick before we go to break and get into hour number 2. What we just heard from FSU head football coach Willie Taggart. I think one of the things that I like most so far in the 2 times, the one is the press conference, the other is the conversation I had with him today, that I come away from really respecting, liking, and finding to be an attractive trait regarding him as a head coach and certainly what's going to help him as a recruiter. There is no panic in that guy. You notice that? How measured everything is? Everything is filtered in a way that allows him to gain proper perspective on the moment and to carefully choose the way he wants to describe a situation, talk about the task at hand, effort to recruit a kid and talking about that philosophy. A lot of emotion is taken out of this, which I like. And yet, what you hear from the players so far is when he's been out at the practices, he is very emotional with them. He is, and what I mean that is in a positive way. Like he is flying around having fun, and his passion for the game is evident to all. And encouraging kids and coaches to go at a certain pace and the kind of joy in his heart as he's coaching before the game of football. And that's what you get with former players, right? But then again, the ability to take that and then remove that when you step off the field and to be a tactician. I think that's going to serve him exceptionally well. I like the approach. I like it's been a challenge, but you live and learn. You figure out, this is new to us. We're figuring out as we go along here how to handle that. And that's, by the way, that really lines up alongside what he did at USF with the ability to completely change his offense. And I'm intrigued that, A, he wants to implement the faster pace here, the spread, utilization of the quarterback running the football. That's great. But knowing that he's willing, certainly, to make adjustments within those adjustments.
Yeah, what I'll find interesting is how he approaches this year against his approach at either USF or Oregon. We certainly know some people who were on the ground covering USF as a program when he was down in Tampa and turning it around. Certainly we can find folks from Oregon who covered, that program this season. There isn't, a championship or bust urgency to 2018, but there's a, win 9-10 games urgency to next season. And one would think that if we have a team that's competently coached with the athletes we have, and we're trying to max possessions, we're going to give ourselves every chance to win 10 games next season. But how does Willie handle the urgency of that moment? Because, his goals here are different. It's kind of like when he was talking to you about it's unusual. I get to come to a school where there's a bowl game being played. So I get to evaluate players and coaches and see who they are, and then I'll make my changes and tweaks as spring rolls around. Well, in the same way, this isn't a total rebuild here, and he said it in the opening press conference. This is not a rebuild.
No. He's elated to get to watch the shiny new toys.
But how do you approach that urgency? It's almost like you're in year 2 or year 3 of your own program in the sense that, at USF, Skip Holtz left it in such a way that, all right, well, if you win 4 games your first season, yeah, I understand. No big deal. That's not the way it is here. We can't go 6-6 again next season. So,
and they won't. I will say this. I don't think that you'll get a hint of panic at all, even with those pressures, because I think you're right, first of all, that if you put kids in a position to succeed and give them more reps, not less, next year they'll win 9-10 games just by having better players, period. It'll be the big games, the one against Virginia Tech right out the box, that will make the first big impression for fans. I mean, we certainly are in a society where, and I hate to sound like Jimbo here, but where we want things now. And we're not used to waiting, and waiting is very difficult for people. And I'm amongst those people. I'm not the most patient people in the world, but I will say I think that my projection right now would be that Willie is a success and has a lot of success almost immediately starting next year. This is a year where things spiraled quickly. You lose that first game against Alabama, which you could do, but you also lose your starting quarterback, and then you have the hurricane. And admittedly, for all the complaints that we had in Jimbo's final year about some things he did or did not do, there were other extenuating circumstances that were not brought on by Jimbo Fisher, that were no fault of his own, that did affect this season greatly. There's just no getting around that. One would think that's not going to happen next year. I mean, I can't predict the weather a year from now, but one would think that everything, is going to play out a little bit more customary. And if that's the case, then Florida State's going to be in good shape to win a lot of football games.
Yeah, and we did weigh on that, too, that, we don't want to hear about inches because you should be beating teams by, 7 to 10 points. To be
so damn close.
But, to his points, for just one brief moment before the tomatoes get chucked my way, all of these things do happen to you, and you are a play away from beating Miami a couple of times, and then Louisville as well. You look at these examples. I mean, NC State, you're a couple of key plays away. I mean, the James Blackman fumble as he's running down. I mean, that's incredibly bad luck.
Yeah.
You got unlucky in a lot of stretches there, and you got unlucky to the point that Jimbo thought it better to leave, and that's the thing that ended up. The football bouncing the wrong way a couple of times, and the Richards kid making a catch. I mean, who knows what happens if we beat Miami? Maybe we win 7-8 games, and then we're not having this discussion because Jimbo just brought new staff members in,
Well, in many ways, I'm relieved that we did, as weird as that sounds, because I don't think things were going to turn around moving forward. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with us. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on Earth, can give you the best year-end deal on Earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
97.9 ESPN Radio would like to congratulate Leon High's Jackson Barber, December's male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month. Jackson Barber is a 4-year starting goalkeeper on the unbeaten Leon Lions soccer team. He helped guide the Lions to a state semifinal appearance just a year ago, and this year he's 2-0 with 2 shutouts, a penalty kick stop, and was just named the Men's Wendy's High School Heisman. Jackson has been able to make straight A's his entire 4 years at Leon High. He's ranked number 5 in his senior class. Jackson is the president of the National Honor Society, treasurer of the French National Honor Society, and a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. As the December male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month, Leon's Jackson Barber is now qualified as a finalist for the Dale Jr. $2,500 End of the Year Scholarship. To help support the folks at Dale Jr., check them out on the corner of Capitol Circle Northeast and Miccosukee, or by visiting online at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac.com.
Woohoo! Banditos!
Huh? Where?
Banditos Burritos, baby.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in real food. Food that's full of nutrients, naturally vivid and colorful, fresh and delicious. Food that connects you to your body, to the seasons, and to the natural world. We believe food should nourish you and help you think. It should help you feel calm, clear-headed, and strong. It should help you do more, sleep better, and wake up happier. That's food that lives up to its name. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Giants make a trade to get third baseman Evan Longoria from the Rays. He will leave Tampa Bay after 10 years. The Rays will get outfielder Denard Span and 3 prospects. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred says today he had no idea the Marlins' new owners would start trading players to save money.
The new ownership group has been in place for a few short months. I've said this before. I doubt that you're going to agree with me, but it's why they make chocolate and vanilla. I think that this group deserves a fair opportunity to demonstrate that they have a long-term commitment to winning.
Rob Manfred on the Dan Le Batard Show here on ESPN Radio. Orioles GM Dan Duquette says if he doesn't get any better offers by tomorrow for third baseman Manny Machado, he will pull Machado off the market. Point guard Isaiah Thomas still hasn't played for the Cavaliers, but he's expected to practice fully with the team for the first time on Saturday and Sunday. He's recovering from a hip injury. Thomas was traded from Boston to Cleveland back in August.
No matter what your budget is, take the JCPenney Holiday Challenge and find surprising gifts at even more surprising prices. Save on toys, apparel, and name brand gifts your family will love. Come in the store or go to jcp.com and get everything on your list for less than you think. JCPenney.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio, and a fine Balls McWednesday to you and yours. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. If you do miss something, we got you covered. All 3 hours going to be posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. By the way, email the show if you want. It's jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameronshow. WTSM app for your mobile devices will work, and you can always watch us perform our duties on YouTube. If you missed last hour and you missed the interview with Willie Taggart, it will run again in the 5 o'clock hour. Today is the first day of the early signing period. New rule in place, and it's produced what I thought it would. Obviously, if you look around the country early on, you'll see that programs in transition, meaning one staff's out, new staff's in, or that process is in the sort of middling stage, you're seeing those schools struggle, and Florida State's one of them. I'm not going to overstate that, though. I think we all knew that was coming. It's tough. It's tough to with an outgoing staff and an incoming staff, or uncertainty as to who's going to be on that staff, to procure commitments from kids can be very difficult, as one might imagine, and I think that's the case here. I think the idea being over what happens today, tomorrow, and Friday, what can you do in terms of getting kids to push their commitment back to February? So if a kid is inclined to commit to whatever school that might be, Georgia, Florida, Miami, Alabama, whatever, a win for Willie Taggart and his staff as they move forward would be maybe not to get a commitment from them, maybe not getting a kid to flip, but to consider delaying that commitment until February to the traditional signing day, and maybe coming in January to see what Willie Taggart has to offer, to listen to the pitch, to give Willie a chance to sell his vision for the player, for the program, for the future. And then I think you can make inroads and maybe a splash larger than one would expect or reasonably expect given the set of circumstances. But it's not today. It's not happening today. And so I think there's a lot of people with their hand on the panic button, but I would caution against that. I do think that there's no way around the fact that Florida State's not going to be able to line up a class that we're familiar with, at least in terms of the ranking. That just was never going to happen. Not when you basically are bringing in a brand new coach who's trying to put together a staff.
Yeah, when you're asking him about his philosophy on talking to kids and telling them about jobs, and he's trying to over recruit or recruit over the current players he has, that he wants the incoming freshman to challenge the senior, the fifth-year senior for his position, for his starting job while he's still here. I'm not recruiting your replacements for after you're gone. I'm recruiting your replacements.
Or at least attempting to.
I'm attempting to recruit your replacements for now. I found a couple of things interesting, and I think they should be, if they're not, they should be sounds for sore ears for Seminole fans. And one is that he won't play favorites. He won't play favorites. If you take a day off, you're going to lose your job.
You could, yeah.
That right, assuming that he recruits to the level that he anticipates he's going to. But, man, given what's happened around here the last few years.
But a mixed bag around here, because I've never understood this about Jimbo Fisher, and I don't want to be, again, bemoaning a guy who's gone, and we're moving on, like you said. But Jimbo was weird that way. At positions that weren't wide receiver, he would easily pull a guy. Not always, but there were candidates. It could happen. You could more easily lose your position if you were a non-wide receiver. He was very, very picky about receiver. Everywhere else, you could lose your job.
I'd say receiver certainly a certain
corner this past year.
Well, corner in general, perhaps a few years back, part of the 29 in a row. I think he stuck with the corners because they were the best, and then also punt returner, kick returner. I don't know what the hell that was.
Well, but that was yeah. I mean, that was a weird.
The idea also being, in his response to you saying, "Listen, if a kid doesn't play here, it's not going to be my fault." That is one of the things I pride myself on. Good. Listen, sometimes new messages grow stale, and maybe this one will in a few years, but right now, that sounds great. And that is something that if you're just weighing strengths and weaknesses of previous staff, and they had their strengths, we won a national title with them, versus strengths and weaknesses of the current staff, we'll see how it goes, but you're hearing the pitch. Yes, absolutely. Merit-based system all the way through. It's on merit. And if you don't play, it's not the coach's fault. It's your fault for not doing what you need to do week to week in practice.
Yeah, I for one, remain really, really hopeful. I think there's no reason to freak out right now. I guess if you are looking at Florida State's recruiting class ranking on a Wednesday, you're saying, well, this is a nightmare. Well, I don't know if I would argue this to the hilt, but I would venture a guess that you could actually literally sign nobody for a singular recruiting class if you already had good players on deck, and then immediately pick up the following year and sign a, say, top 15 class and survive it. Survive it in a way that doesn't set your program back for years. Maybe just a hiccup. So why do I say that? Well, that's an extreme example. That's not happening here. Right off the bat, I mentioned that they brought in a beast of a defensive tackle, and that's reason to be excited enough. I mean, I'm not saying if that's the only guy you get that you should be banging the drum and celebrating, but Robert Cooper signed, and it was important to get him. Alabama was coming after him, and so you get Robert Cooper, a 350-pound guy, defensive tackle, to say yes. And once that happens, you get excited. And we've already mentioned some other guys that are likely to jump on board, and Gainer is already on board.
Yeah, Christian Armstrong sent his LOI in today, and he's a big offensive lineman.
So
prospect.
You got some kids, and you're going to continue to get kids over the next 72 hours. I got it. That's fine. And maybe, once again, you'll sign some kids in February that make you feel better about the class. It's going to take some time to figure out where we're at with this thing. But if you fall as low as 70 in the recruiting rankings and you're behind Duke and the like, you got to fight now to get back into the top 20. If you do that, you'll survive it. You'll move forward. You'll be fine. Staff will get hired. They'll be in place for a full year. You already know him in the course of transitioning. You already know what he is as a recruiter, lauded by all. I would guess that next year is going to be just fine, and you could survive this step backwards. Now, listen, to be sure, if I'm a Miami fan and I'm watching this play out, or I'm a Florida fan or whatever I am, and I'm watching Florida State struggle, Lord knows they've watched Florida State for a very long time now. put together top-tier classes, top 5 classes over and over and over again, they certainly would welcome this hiccup and celebrate it. And you're going to hear from them on this day and tomorrow and Friday. I mean, especially if they're doing well, you're going to hear from them. But that's okay, man. You take that in stride and say, all right. In the case of Florida, I mean, you still got to beat us at some point. It's been a little while. And hell, for the case of Miami, once in Blue Moon, that's fine. I mean, it'll be about the games. It'll be about the results. It'll be about all of the things moving forward. And today may be a day that you just kind of have to wear it a little bit.
Yeah, but, even today's going to end nicely, people think, and that's with the 5-star commitment of a young man named Woodbay. I still haven't learned his first name, but he's out on the West Coast. He's from California. He's loved Florida State. The previous staff did not reach out to him. The current staff did at the last moment, and he's signing in the early period. And they may have done enough to procure a 5-star blue-chip talent out of the West Coast.
Yeah, safety, who wants to come here and be the next big stud out of the
5-star
defensive secondary. Yeah.
Not some kid who's, like a borderline 3 or 4. That's what the power of this staff can do. When it's all, excuse me, I keep on hitting the microphone.
Beat the hell out of that thing.
When it's all put together.
Jaden, by the way.
Jaden. Okay. Jaden Woodbay.
You can do it.
Yes, I can.
Jaden Woodbay.
There he is.
5-star. Tonight, 8:30 p.m.
What's that going to jump you? 20 or 30 spots in the recruiting rankings?
If we get him. I mean, it feels like we're going to get him, but I don't know, and I don't count my chickens. But
it's recruiting. I totally understand that. But what I'm saying is, in short order, we're going to flip a trio of kids that are from the Tampa area, in all likelihood, that were committed to Oregon, to Willie Taggart, bring him here in the fold. You secure Gaynor, your local stud, who is going to be the mouthpiece from recruit-to-recruit communication standpoint from here through signing day. You grab a kid from the West Coast that hadn't heard from Florida State and wanted desperately to hear from Florida State because he loved Florida State as a child, and you might get him in the fold. There's a lot of positives here, man. He didn't have a whole lot to work with. This wasn't like Jimbo was recruiting a top 5 class like Willie was over at Oregon, and you have to maintain that. Not at all. The purge was incredible at the end of November, and you weren't able to get some of those kids back.
And I imagine, by the way, that a lot of people today share a sentiment that I'm going to read to you here that, I think a lot of people are obviously very, very frustrated. Here's an email I got earlier today. And as this has kind of trickled down and come out in pieces, and more people have been willing to speak on the record, and more people have been willing to kind of voice their frustrations or some of the sadness that they felt over the way that things ended with Jimbo here. The more that's informed the average fan, the guy that's got a 9-to-5 that's working in another field that can't spend every waking second paying attention to similar sports, that something was really amiss here. And A.J. writes, gentlemen, saw a clip where Kirk Herbstreit asked Jimbo Fisher why he left Florida State. Jimbo, at about 100 miles per hour, said that you have to be on the same page with the administration in order to flip a program. Huh? Hey, man, why are you talking about flipping a program? It's your program. You've been here for a decade.
Been flipped.
Talent all over the field. This guy can't stop with the old script, thinks he can tell any lie he wants when he wants to tell it, like telling another grown man it was 4th and 3 when that man and everyone else could see that it was 4th and 1. You remember the play and the conversation that I had with
damn
Jimbo.
Right. That was last year. Was that North Carolina? I forget the game. But
it was 4th and 1, and I asked him about it. He said it was 4th and 3, and then, of course, he punted from the opponent's 35-yard line. The 35. Think about that for a second. Let that sit in. Or maybe he isn't lying. Maybe he can just never get past the flip stage and is constantly, consistently, committedly going to tell his partner what's wrong with her every single day they're together. How tiring. No wonder I haven't had fun watching this team for nearly 3 years. I can't imagine that they had much fun, genuine fun together either. I'm floored and disappointed at the constant trickle of revelation that Jimbo Fisher stopped doing his job some time ago. I'd be more than happy to wish him well on the big contract and the benefits. I'd have taken it too. But when you leave in the wake of lies and breach of employment contract, it's hard to, and he goes on to say other things about that and mentioned that thank goodness for Odell Haggins and talked about that. I think a lot of people on this day where they're watching the direct result of them not doing their job over the last month and a half in recruitment and what that leads to are feeling much the way AJ does. He writes, keep up the good work. Appreciate it, AJ. Thanks for the email. That's one of many of similar sounding emails that I've received. More people are of that ilk right now going, what the hell was going on?
Yeah, agreed. I would say this is you're more mad about the process, if you will, not the results of today. And here's why I say that. You know, it was number 5, number 6 in the country, the Oregon recruiting class. That thing is falling to pieces because Willie has relationships with a lot of the kids, and they're at least listening to us, if not committing to us in short order. You could have had a top 5 class with, 90% capacity committed to Florida State, and when Jimbo left, the relationships were so strong that they said, well, we're going to decommit anyway. So from that standpoint, a lack of communication may not have been that big of a difference because, again, you're making a coaching change and guys want their players to come in, their type of players. There was always going to be difficulty in short. Where I get angry is when you have player interviews and players are saying that, contact went dark, that there was no communication. Mm-hmm. It's like anything else, man. If you send an email at work or you make a phone call to a family member, you send them a text and it's crickets, that gets frustrating after a while. And in this job specifically, you stop communicating, period. That's where I get angry. It's not necessarily about the fact that we have all this work to do. I think no matter what happened,
he's going to have to be putting the pieces back
together.
Willie
was going to have to be putting pieces together. That's what Oregon has to do without Willie. It's just the way that we have to repair relationships because people think that Florida State is just a place that's not going to talk to them. That's where I get angry. So there's a nuance there. Willie was going to have to do a lot of work no matter what. But every time I see a recruit's interview and they say, well, I just wasn't hearing from Florida State, or I always wanted to go to Florida State, but they didn't come after me. Okay.
Well, because that implies that he purposefully screwed the school. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor, can give you the #1 year-end deal. Let us show you how to get tax savings on the toughest tractors on earth and get up to $7,400 in discounts along with Mahindra's 7-year warranty. Plus, get an Emax 22 with mid-mower for just $134 a month.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Grab one for just $99. 2 great tools, plus a powerful lithium-ion battery that drives them both. It may be last minute, but it's definitely first rate. The Ryobi One Plus Drill and Impact Driver Kit, still just $99. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through February 3rd, 2018, U.S. only, while supplies last.
If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining, bad odors, and lead with HydroCare water products available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to goodclearwater.com. That's goodclearwater.com.
The holiday season is officially here, and Harry's is bringing back their biggest deal ever to Clayman Plaza in downtown Tallahassee. Check out Harry's featured limited holiday specials. Harry's Holiday Trio includes a grilled medallion filet topped with fried lobster and shrimp and accented with a New Orleans sherry cream sauce, all accompanied by their classic mashed potatoes and green beans. You have to try the blackened brie, a velvety brie cheese topped with Harry's Creole cranberry chutney, served alongside buttered crostinis. And don't forget to scoop up some holiday gift cards. For every $100 in Harry's gift cards you purchase, they will give you a $30 bonus gift card for free. Visit Harry's downtown in Clayman Plaza, or for more info, go online at hookedonharrys.com.
Good food, good times, and all the flavor of New Orleans at Harry's Seafood Bar and Grill.
Hey, golfers and holiday shoppers, Edwin Watts has the best deals for you and the golfers on your list. Bushnell is the #1 rangefinder in golf, and right now you can save $50 on the Pro X2, Tour V4, and V4 Shift Patriot Packs, and save $50 on the XL watch. Give the gift of distance with TaylorMade's newest irons, P790s and MCGBs. Save on the most complete tour ball, the TP5 and TP5X, now $39.99 a dozen. And gift cards are the perfect pick for the hard-to-shop-for golfer. Buy with confidence at Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
It's that time of year again where you have to shop for the naughty and the nice. Make it easy. Superlube it and get rewarded with a free oil change. Right now, visit any of the 19 area Superlube locations, buy 3 oil changes, and get 1 free. Keep it or give that free oil change to a car lover on your list. Hurry in and make shopping easy with a free oil change from Superlube. You'll be glad you did.
They change my oil in just 10 minutes. Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio, at J Cameron Show. Ryan writes, do we unequivocally need a quarterback in this class? Jones is out. Penix is out. Where do we go from here? Is 12 a good fit for Taggart's offense? Well, according to Taggart, to Coach Taggart, he can work it either way. He doesn't absolutely have to have a certain type of quarterback. But I don't, certainly all coaches have in mind a guy that they'd like to run their system. And in this case, I would think the more mobile, the better. But no, we don't unequivocally have to have a quarterback, certainly not today or tomorrow. It will get interesting. I mean, I would have liked to have seen, and maybe we still will, a quarterback come in this class. That topic is an interesting one to begin with. I've said, and I'll say again here just for, the point of conversation. It's, to me, if Jimbo Fisher had stayed, James Blackman was going to be the starting quarterback next year. Now, there are people who disagree with me on that, but I believe that as we went into spring, Blackman having been at the helm of Jimbo's offense for a year and been thrown into the fire with mixed results. Obviously, it wasn't an ideal situation. I think the kid handled it about as well as could be expected. He was not an early enrollee. He was in it was a dire set of circumstances. I was actually quite stunned that Jimbo chose to throw him into that fire. Especially, when you think about it, losing Dickerson, and they lost their best offensive lineman. They had some problems with injuries at the wide receiver position. This was not a perfect situation. Jacques Patrick missed time. They had issues, And you're asking a kid that had been here a matter of weeks. I mean, he was just fresh out of high school. Weeks. I mean, there was no expectations when he was brought in as a recruit. When he signed with Florida State, there was zero expectations that he would get anywhere close to the field of play this first season. I mean, how could there be, right? And then Deondre Francois goes down, and immediately Jimbo announces, that's our guy. Well, you know, first of all, that doesn't speak very highly of a kid that's been here for a very long time. And I'm not going to rip him again, but goodness gracious, Cosentino has been here for 10 years, and he immediately got jumped by a kid that had been here for an hour. That's frustrating, but it happened. And so, you know, you got a mixed bag. You know, I think early on he did enough to win a couple of these games we talk about early in the year. Should have won, should have had a couple game-winning drives, but his defense failed him miserably, and that's frustrating. He had some boneheaded mistakes there that led to a loss against Miami after he scored not one but 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. He put together, you know, a really unlucky situation in that game against Louisville. I mean, just a lot of things. But the bottom line is, I think he made enough throws and he showed enough acumen that he would have been the guy, in my mind, to run Jimbo's offense going into spring. Plus, DeAndre was coming off of an injury. That is a unique injury. That's not a good situation with DeAndre Francois. I certainly wish him well and hope him to be healthy. You want that for a lot of reasons, namely for the kid. But Jimbo's not here. And Willie Taggart is going to bring in an offense where I think he would like to run the quarterback a lot. And in that case, that doesn't suit James Blackman. James Blackman is slow, period. He's not a great runner. He's adequate. You can use him, but it's not ideal. And DeAndre, if healthy, is the better option as a runner. He's actually a good runner. So I would think it sets up now perfectly for DeAndre. So for starters, I think Willie Taggart coming here and Jimbo moving on is better for DeAndre Francois than it is James Blackman. And that's what I'll think going in. We'll see how healthy DeAndre is in spring. There's another thing we have to think about here, and that is I'm going to need to see a transformation in DeAndre Francois, the teammate. I'm going to need to see him be better. There are too many instances this year where he did not show a commitment to James Blackman, his teammate, to this program, to this team, his teammates, that locker room. And that doesn't sit well with me. It especially doesn't sit well with me considering that he's a quarterback. If my right guard is kind of flaky occasionally and irresponsible every now and again, it's not ideal. Can I live with it, especially if he's talented? Sure. My quarterback, not as much. You have to be, by definition, a leader when you touch the ball on every play. And he hasn't been a great leader.
To me, I don't know that you can rule out James Blackman here for next year.
Well, I'm not ruling him out. I just tell you who I think has the advantage.
Yeah, he's got the advantage, does Francois, from with the natural gifts that he has. But it's not exactly like the kid that Taggart has at Oregon is, a 4.5 speed player. And James throws the deep ball well, and one would think, if this offense is going to have lethal simplicity to it, that means you're going to want to get the ball down the field when, teams are scrambling to stop your rushing attack. I could see where you have a run-pass disparity of 65-35, and you're running the ball a bunch, and you're looking for shots down the field, get the ball in your playmakers' hands, get it out in space quickly because we have wide splits, especially with the receivers. Man, you need a cannon for an arm, and you need to be decisive with the ball, and you need to throw the ball down the field with some accuracy. These are throws that he makes. There's a difference now in the way we fundamentally look at quarterbacks, and I agree with you. If he has his druthers, Willie is looking for a dual-threat quarterback, but he's been very careful since he first came here to say in his opening press conference and even in the interview today, you don't have to be dual-threat to run my offense.
No, and that's true.
It has pro-style concepts interwoven with the idea of tempo and spread. So, to me, that means he understands the roster he has before him, because even if he gets a 4-star recruit to flip from somewhere else, that's a true freshman. And he has now 2 players, one of which that we know will be healthy, coming back who have operated as the quarterback for a team for a full season. And James Blackman showed enough moxie and smarts to run Jimbo Fisher's offense at times his freshman season. Listen, I know That Clemson first half is a disaster.
Well, you don't have to make the case for James Blackman to me.
But
in the
second half, he shows hard. That's all I'm saying is he learned a hell of a lot this year.
He took a hell of a beating this year, too.
And he won't have to command the concepts he had to this season with Willie Taggart's offense. You don't have to worry about operating over the middle of the football field in short to intermediate throws the way you did with Jimbo Fisher.
Well, can I just say this, too? I think one thing even the most ardent supporter of Coach Fisher and his offense, and at times I was, it's going to be nice. I mean, I think there's no way possible for our quarterback to get hit as frequently as our quarterbacks have been hit the last 2 years. Like I've got to believe that the one thing that's going to change without question, I don't believe this, I know this. One thing that is going to change for certain, one of many things, but I'll just say this one. These guys are not going to be getting drilled on every freaking throw. And I, for one, will welcome that because nobody takes a bigger ass-kicking than a Florida State quarterback waiting for some 25-second route to develop in Jimbo's offense.
Right, and if at that point you're talking about running the football a bunch anyway, misdirection with your receivers like a DJ Matthews, and you're running the ball with a Cam Akers or a LeBourne or a Zaquandre White or Jaquez Patrick, whoever it is, and all you're asking your quarterback to do is get the ball quickly out of his hands, get the ball down the field, and the occasional carry the occasional carry for 6 to 11 yards. Slide, get down, we do it again. You make them, have to honor you.
Let's get to the line of scrimmage.
James Blackman can do that. There's no doubt that he can do that in my mind.
And I'm glad you bring up that point. I am not excluding him from the competition. I'm not saying he has no chance. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm saying that with that change at coach and philosophy, the advantage I thought he had is somewhat removed. And that does give DeAndre Francois a better chance.
No doubt. And also, Zaquandre White is a really tough name to say fast.
We'll do that during the break.
Yeah.
It's Jeff Cameron, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on earth, can give you the best year-end deal on earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
574-4100 and presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia and Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
Nice shot there, Dickie Lang. I'm sure you'll get out of the bunker this time. Here's Cameron. From 160, maybe a 9-iron. No, it's an 8-iron. Probably just hitting it 3/4.
season for South Florida. La 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 la.
Eddie? What in the world are you doing here? You don't even golf.
Be that as it may, Jeff, my holiday spirit knows no bounds. I come bearing gifts.
Outstanding. What do you have there, sir?
3 gifts. Gold, frankincense, and mahi fingers for all. Gold and frankincense not included.
Very thoughtful of you, Eddie. You don't have to do this, man.
That's what we do, man. This is the holiday season. This is the time when you show the people you love and the people that you care about just how much they mean to you.
You're absolutely right. I'm glad we get to share this with the community together.
Well, that's why I'm here, bud. Well, that, and I want to use that driver you got.
It's a par 3, Eddie. Not using the driver.
7!
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities says 'tis the season to save energy and money. And that's why your own utilities says it's time to focus on those Energy Star appliances, like clothes washers, dishwashers, refrigerators, and freezers, even pool pumps and water heaters. Rebates range from $40 to $300. AC and heat pump rebates go as high as $750. And when you buy Energy Star appliances, you save twice. You'll save when you get the rebate from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, and you'll save again on your utility bill, because it's a fact that Energy Star appliances use less energy than their non-Energy Star counterparts. So look for the Energy Star when you shop local for appliances this holiday season. Get all the Energy Star rebate details at talgov.com. Your own utilities. Click on products and services, and all will be revealed. 'Tis the season to save. Save energy and save money with the City of Tallahassee Utilities Energy Star rebates. You'll save with the rebate, and you save on your utility bill. Happy holidays from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities, and America's #1 public utility.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Giants make a trade to get third baseman Evan Longoria from the Rays. He will leave Tampa Bay after 10 years. The Rays will get outfielder Denard Span and 3 prospects. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred says today he had no idea the Marlins' new owners would start trading players to save money.
The new ownership group has been in place for a few short months. I've said this before. I doubt that you're going to agree with me, but it's why they make chocolate and vanilla. I think that this group deserves a fair opportunity to demonstrate that they have a long-term commitment to winning.
Rob Manfred on the Dan Le Batard Show here on ESPN Radio. Orioles GM Dan Duquette says if he doesn't get any better offers by tomorrow for third baseman Manny Machado, he will pull Machado off the market. Point guard Isaiah Thomas still hasn't played for the Cavaliers, but he's expected to practice fully with the team for the first time on Saturday and Sunday. He's recovering from a hip injury. Thomas was traded from Boston to Cleveland back in August.
No matter what your budget is, take the JCPenney Holiday Challenge and find surprising gifts at even more surprising prices. Save on toys, apparel, and name brand gifts your family will love. Come in the store or go to jcp.com and get everything on your list for less than you think. JCPenney.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I'll tell you, we talk about what Willie Taggart's up against in recruiting moving forward, and the fact that he's it's nice to know that he's a great recruiter who's starting with a disadvantage, but will not have to work under the same set of circumstances next year. It's a good thing he won't, because Georgia ain't having it. That and Clemson continues to be great in recruiting. So, you watch this as of right now. You look at Georgia. Every time I look up, they're landing another 5-star recruit, the latest being Brenton Cox, the defensive end. fifth best player in the ESPN Top 300. It's insane.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
It ain't. I mean, it's everywhere you look, man. I mean, damn it, Georgia. Slow your roll.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
By the way, when people hear that clip, and we use it like all the time for anything in which we are insinuating that there are improprieties, and you might assume then that we frown upon what's happening there, but that's not true. When Florida State does well in recruiting, we do this.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Because we're under no illusion that this is all on the up and up at all of these schools, including our own.
Well, and we're also talking about, pay the coach who's responsible for these returns on our investment. Pay him more. He is worth more. Trust me.
Well, and Georgia is in the college football playoff, and Kirby's got it rolling in a hurry.
They were winning like they were with Fromm, and, he didn't have to do nearly as much. I got it.
He didn't have to do much at all.
But they're winning, big right now, which is ahead of schedule. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Again, talking with family members up in the Atlanta area,
yeah.
I told him, he's happy. He's like, I can't believe I have to get used to it because it sounds like you're going to get this generational quarterback, and Lemon signed with Georgia today. Justin Fields did.
Yes, he did.
And you're signing trenches like crazy. Get used to it, man. Your reign over the East is here.
Well, we'll see. I'm not going to say that Dan Mullen won't have some success. I mean, the one thing that I'll note, yes, in Florida, from my perspective right now, is chasing Georgia. There's no getting around that without question. And that gulf is widening a little bit. But remember, the last two coaches that have been at Florida, I won't say Will Muschamp is incompetent because he recruited elite-level defenders and coached them that way and developed them and got them to the NFL. And Florida's defense was an SOB to deal with for everybody. Luckily, they were incompetent on offense, and the hires that Muschamp had made on that side of the ball failed him miserably, and they never got any better. And then McElwain came in with the idea that they were going to bring in an offensive coach, utilize what they already had in place, which was a great defense and talent on that side of the ball, and get this offense moving. Well, it didn't happen. And it may very well have happened had he not made the foolish decision to tell Will Grier, you got to take it on down the road. And it's funny. You can always look back when you watch these things and say, man, there was a moment in time when a coach had to make a tough decision, and he made the wrong one. And I get it. We all want to pretend that our guys stand for something more than winning football games and that they stand for something. And I think that's true when it comes to, you don't want to be the guy that welcomes in players that are a tear on your community. So that's true. That's fine. You can't have a guy who looks or turns a blind eye to a criminal. And I mean a hardened criminal. I'm talking about a violent crime, that kind of thing. But let's be honest. Can my coach maybe look the other way at a player who's immensely talented at a key position where we're struggling when a kid smokes some weed? Man, I'm sorry. About 85% of the fan base and the alumni base are going to say, yeah, not only am I okay with you looking the other way about a kid smoking some doobies, but I'm going to need you to look the other way if the kid's good and going to win his football games. And the Will Grier moment was McElwain's moment, and he chose the wrong path.
Does he have a brother, and is he good? Because the Doobie brothers are more than welcome to Tallahassee.
You couldn't help yourself.
I couldn't.
So, but I'm saying you got a moment there. He made the wrong decision, and it cost him his job.
But there are turning points in games, too. It's not just about decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, think about if Miami under Golden wins in 14. That they had every chance to beat us in 2014. They did up here in 2015. They win that game, that changes their season. They don't have the drop-off, and maybe they win 8 or 9 games, but then they get that extra recruit or two. It's the domino effect of those things. But, for Dan Mullen at Florida, his worst year is going to be next year from a talent standpoint. He might be able to coach above the talent. But, with Georgia losing its 2 senior tailbacks next year, you would think of the next 3 seasons, Georgia is most gettable when? Probably next year? Because by the time you get to 2019, 2020, you're talking about a stable of backs, a stable of people in the trenches, and a quarterback who's in his 2nd and 3rd year. Man, they're going to win 3 out of the next 4 SEC East titles at minimum if they don't get, ravaged by injuries or illegalities.
Yes, lots. The Athens police love to arrest their student athletes. So the only thing I'll say about that, and maybe maybe Kirby got there and said, now, guys, We're about done with all this nonsense.
Who do I need to pay?
Yeah, we're not going to be arresting my starting quarterback for being drunk in public and walking home. I mean, you got to stop with this nonsense, guys. But one thing I'll say is we all think with great certainty we know what next year and the year after that's going to look like when we watch a given year play out or we see something transpire. But, it takes an injury. It takes a controversy. It takes, a bad break, a bad day, and a game one that shouldn't have been. I mean, how many times has Florida beaten Georgia when they had no business beating Georgia? I wouldn't project that that's going to happen with great regularity in the near future. But Dan Mullen, the thing that Dan Mullen does, and I give him immense credit for this, for the system that he runs, and remember Dan Mullen called plays for Urban Meyer when they won a national championship there at Florida with Tim Tebow. He gets a quarterback that is competent. Florida has had nothing but incompetent play at quarterback for years now. And I guarantee you Dan Mullen is going to get somebody in place that can run their system and play well. They're going to play well on offense under Dan Mullen. Consistently as you'd like. Is he going to be great all the time? No, but they're not going to be out there floundering around like you've seen Florida the last 2 and 3 years looking buffoonish. Struggling to get a first down and a half. You're not going to see that. They're going to be competent, and that gives them a chance. And then what you see, Florida, when they're operating at peak efficiency, they recruit extremely well. So we'll see. I think it's about to get really fascinating. And I like where we sit right now in bringing in, and that's why I was for this transition. I like where we sit right now as what is going to be an all-out war. I'm not saying we're hearkening back to the 1990s where all three teams in the state, the big three anyhow, are out there kicking ass, taking names, and competing for titles. But it's going to be a little bit closer to that than it has been because now you have Mark Richt down in Miami doing a good job of keeping those kids in South Florida to stay home. He's recruiting for his alma mater. He's a competent coach with a competent staff. He's already made an impact. Look at the season it was with no quarterback. And then Dan Mullen is competent, will do a good job. He's going to bring in better classes. I think offensively they're going to improve greatly. Obviously, we expect Willie Taggart to do great things in recruiting, to put together a staff that can recruit like a mother. They're going to do that. But Lane Kiffin, as long as he's still there, we'll see. Look, is FAU going to beat out too many of these Power 5 schools in the state? No, either is UCF or whatever else. But will they get a guy here or there? Yes. Charlie Strong's a good recruiter. USF. Look around, man. And then Kirby Smart at Georgia, right in your backyard, doing some things. Obviously, Clemson continues to recruit well. Alabama is Alabama. This is going to be amazing to watch play out. Yes, we're going to be sitting on pins and needles, next year when everybody has a fair fight for recruits. This is going to get really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. It's just who has the hardest job out of all those people, not named Lane Kiffin or Charlie Strong, admittedly. It's Dan Mullen. He's got more to account for right now. I mean, we went right 6-6.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the talent gap is not like it is. I mean, we beat the hell out of Florida.
Yeah, no, that wasn't.
And we went 6-6.
Yeah.
That says it all right there, man. Holy
cow.
No,
Florida's got problems, but we've watched what happens at programs with cachet when somebody competent comes in.
There's no doubt. And I'm not trying to fall into the trap that many fell in for Miami, saying it could never come back. I'm not doing that at all. All I'm saying is the way Georgia is recruiting, which is at, where Florida State, Alabama, Ohio State was, at that type of level. And you've got to account for not having a defense now because all the Muschamp's guys are gone from Florida.
Well, no, it's a beautiful thing.
McElwain didn't recruit at all. I mean, holy crap. You've got a lot. Tennessee has more talent right now, top to bottom, than Florida does.
Yeah, they're a mess. Tennessee's.
Their program is a mess, but their talent, their two deep, is better than Florida's. They would trade right now for the two deep that Tennessee has.
And, of course, Florida beat Tennessee this year like they always do. I just, even with that incompetence.
But Georgia doesn't look like you see where I'm going. All I'm talking about is that particular rivalry. Man, enjoy your drives up to Jacksonville, Gator fans. Good Lord.
Yeah, no, I think right now they're probably sitting back thinking, well, damn it, man, somebody's got to put the end to this. But here's what happens anytime, and this is going to happen with us. Those first 2 years are where you make hay, man, because you're selling a new vision, and everybody is willing to gobble that up because they're starving. They're dying. Obviously, the previous regime wasn't working, or else they'd still be there. So the new guy comes in and gives you a different vision. You buy in. You're all in. Hook, line, and sinker. There should be an uptick in recruiting those first 2 years. There should be an uptick in successes on the field pretty quickly, because what we also see is that these guys that are agents of change, and aren't in it for the long haul at any one place, they come in and they burn hot and they burn bright and they have success quick. But it begins to die down 4, 5, 6 years in.
You're 100% right about that. If you're asking me where's Georgia in 2025, I don't know. They could be in the gutter. They could be. But right now, with the way Kirby Smart is doing it, and we've seen with Jimbo, and we see with the big-time coaches who are able to go to universities and preach a new message and succeed a little bit on the front end in order to fortify the excitement. Man, if I'm a Florida fan, I'm circling 2021 as my first real opportunity to get back in this rivalry, because that Fields kid is going to be there for the next 3 years, whether he wants to be, whether he's overqualified or not, because he can't go to the NFL. And if he's anything close, again, people around the recruiting business.
I know they talk about him as a can't miss, surefire can't miss. Cow. Yeah, I've had recruiting people tell me that he's the closest to Jameis since Jameis, that he's the guy that people look at and go, well, that's different. You're going to have a problem dealing with him.
Right. And you can see, and this is the fun part about Willie Taggart's offense. Look at Alabama and look at Clemson at quarterback play this season.
They don't have great quarterbacks, but they run their system, and you can get away with it if you're good everywhere else, especially if you can play defense and run the football.
And they're in the playoff. Right. Exactly right.
By the way, we get asked this question on Twitter before we go. I know we have a long segment here, but all right. We'll go with this, Tyler. We got of the first 5 ACC games for FSU hoops play again this year, how many wins do you think they'll get? Well, it's funny because we fell into that trap last year. We were all overwhelmed. ACC play is right around the corner. In fact, we play Southern Miss tomorrow. That's not ACC play. But after that, it's time to get it on, starting on the 30th against Duke. Am I going to project us to beat Duke on the road? No. North Carolina here. Maybe. I'm not going to chalk up a loss. I've learned my lesson here, and they'll play hard. That's on a Wednesday night at 7.
Yeah, Fiondu back. I know he's. They think he could be ready by tomorrow. Yeah, so maybe he's fine.
But listen, are we favored? No, and I'm not. But I'm saying I'm not going to predict us to lose that game necessarily. But you're right. If your point of the tweet is this. Florida State has Duke, North Carolina, Miami, Louisville, Syracuse to start. Now, I don't think Syracuse is any good this year. So I'm going to give us the win at home against Syracuse. There's one.
That's one.
I'm going to give us the win at home against Louisville.
Okay.
That's 2.
Mm-hmm.
2 and 3. I think Florida State goes 2 and 3. I think they start in ACC play 0 and 3. I think they lose to Duke. They lose to North Carolina. Although, we'll see. Get raucous.
That'll be fun.
Let's get raucous. And then they go on the road to Miami on the 7th of January. I think they'll lose that road game to Miami. But then they'll come home and they'll win against Louisville on the 10th. And then they'll beat Syracuse on the 13th. That's a survivable 2 and 3 in those 5 games. We'll see. Could they go on 5? Sure. Could they go 4 and 1? Not likely, but I wouldn't rule it out as a possibility. They're not going 5 and 0. And last year, when we looked at that schedule, we saw that, and that was Louisville with Rick Pitino before any Billy Minotti Hall or nonsense at all. And,
what is this, level Louisville. 9 Hotel Bruno? I'm a couple of blocks off here, aren't I?
I mean, we won a lot of games we didn't think we'd win last year. I know we had some NBA players, but
Well, I'm sorry. You're not that type of room service. Excuse me. I shouldn't have dialed 0. I should have dialed 69.
Oh, that's too easy. I like it, though. I like it. So if you want a prediction, I'm going with 2 and 3. All right? That's my prediction. What's your prediction on that?
Ugh.
Oh, you
1 and 4?
Ye of little faith.
1 and 4.
That's how you are.
1 and 4.
No belief.
No, just projection. 1 and 4. That doesn't mean your season's over, man.
Well, of course not.
That's a tough run.
You're
not going to go 4 and 2 or 5 and 1, whatever the hell we were last year.
You know what I want people to tweet at me as we get set to go to break? There you go. I gotta buy. I'm talking about things lately that I gotta buy, and I trust my listening audience. I trust the listeners, and they can respond to me on Twitter at Jay Cameron Show. It's true, because I've gotten good advice about this when I've done it in the past. And maybe this isn't the forum. Maybe you say to yourself, man, so you're using the airwaves here for your own benefit? Well, I'm still paying for this. I'm not asking for anything free. I could do this. I'm just getting a response from the folks. I need a vacuum cleaner. I do. And I'm not even being a male chauvinist doing this thing like for my wife. No, I need it. I like to vacuum, by the way. I do. I like to vacuum. And if I did not have my friends that wash around the clock, I actually don't mind laundry. But it is time-consuming, so I let them do it.
But the look of the carpet after you vacuumed it.
Oh, it's like mowing a lawn. You feel really good.
Yeah,
you sit back,
Put the carpet cleaner and the smell.
Oh, it's good. And I'm already, I'm going to get some new flooring in the new year and probably go all hardwood. But in the interim.
Hey, now.
Yeah. But in the interim, I got half my house is hardwood. Go ahead.
Hey, now.
The other half is carpet, and that carpet's looking shaky. And I need a good vacuum cleaner. But not one that's crazy, because it's a freaking vacuum cleaner. I'm not spending $1,000 on a vacuum cleaner. So I need, at Jay Cameron Show, your vacuum cleaner advice. Over the course of the next hour, you can throw that at me. What do you think of that?
Big Daddy J or whatever
Big Daddy
your name
J
is. You see we got a tweet or two about
that?
that?
Yeah. Well, Big Daddy J went 4-1 in my picks with the hockey. And today's Wednesday. Let's go all over, kids. Big Daddy J.
Time for a vodka and Coke.
Red Russian. Willie Taggart going to join us next hour.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on Earth, can give you the best year-end deal on Earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
And you pick up a power seat, iKey, and alloy wheels at no charge. I'm telling you, the best selection on remaining 2017 models is now at Kraft Nissan. And you folks that wait each year for the best price on model year closeout, it's here. And if you haven't heard, Kraft Nissan is now a full-line Nissan commercial vehicle dealer. So buy that new Titan, Armada, or NV commercial van, take advantage of accelerated depreciation on your 2017 tax return. Plus, all new Kraft Nissans come with our exclusive lifetime warranty and 2 years or 20,000 miles of free oil changes. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Price includes dealer preparation charge.
97.9 ESPN Radio would like to congratulate Leon High's Jackson Barber, December's male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month. Jackson Barber is a 4-year starting goalkeeper on the unbeaten Leon Lions soccer team. He helped guide the Lions to a state semifinal appearance just a year ago, and this year he's 2-0 with 2 shutouts, a penalty kick stop, and was just named the Men's Wendy's High School Heisman. Jackson has been able to make straight A's his entire 4 years at Leon High. He's ranked number 5 in his senior class. Jackson is the president of the National Honor Society, treasurer of the French National Honor Society, and a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. As the December male winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month, Leon's Jackson Barber is now qualified as a finalist for the Dale Jr. $2,500 end-of-the-year scholarship. To help support the folks at Dale Jr., check them out on the corner of Capitol Circle Northeast and Miccosukee, or by visiting online at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac.com.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Customers constantly tell us that they're getting several estimates to compare apples to apples. You ever bite into an apple and find out the inside is rotten? Cheap roofing quotes are just like that rotten apple. Quote looks shiny and delicious because it's the cheapest, right? But you wind up with that rotten apple that leaks or starts to fail immediately. All roofing quotes are not equal. Cheap estimates equal cheap materials, subpar labor, or both. For quality that lasts, call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Giants make a trade to get third baseman Evan Longoria from the Rays. He will leave Tampa Bay after 10 years. The Rays will get outfielder Denard Span and 3 prospects. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred says today he had no idea the Marlins' new owners would start trading players to save money.
The new ownership group has been in place for a few short months. I've said this before. I doubt that you're going to agree with me, but it's why they make chocolate and vanilla. I think that this group deserves a fair opportunity to demonstrate that they have a long-term commitment to winning.
Rob Manfred on the Dan Le Batard Show here on ESPN Radio. Orioles GM Dan Duquette says if he doesn't get any better offers by tomorrow for third baseman Manny Machado, he will pull Machado off the market. Point guard Isaiah Thomas still hasn't played for the Cavaliers, but he's expected to practice fully with the team for the first time on Saturday and Sunday. He's recovering from a hip injury. Thomas was traded from Boston to Cleveland back in August.
No matter what your budget is, take the JCPenney Holiday Challenge and find surprising gifts at even more surprising prices. Save on toys, apparel, and name brand gifts your family will love. Come in the store or go to jcp.com and get everything on your list for less than you think. JCPenney.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least 4 today, and a fine Bowlsmick Wednesday to you and yours / early signing period. Doesn't sound very... I don't think this early signing period is going to be something that lasts. Not the December one. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I think they got to bring it back sooner.
Sooner, though?
Do that thing in August, baby.
Man.
Do that thing in August. Let's make an impact. You want to unburden somebody, let them do it in August, December.
I'm telling you, so much changes in your life in your senior year of high school.
I know. But, man, right now, what the hell? It's weird time for coaches. I really think that. It's crazy.
But I like it being here instead of August because, you know, how many people would have signed for Jimbo Fisher and he's gone? I mean, that's ridiculous.
No, but then put in some clauses that if a coach leaves, you can leave. I mean, that's really simple. Just say, listen, if you agree to go to a place and the coach freaking leaves, then you're not. It's not binding.
What if your position coach leaves?
It's not binding. It's not binding. Those are 2 easy ones. I like it. You got guys trying to coach bowl games, guys putting together staffs, guys running around all over Hell's Half Acres just before the holidays. I mean,
what if you're an ATH? You don't have a position coach. There you go. Well, they were going to play me a corner, and like they lose, and you're going to be a receiver. And, well, the cornerbacks coach is gone. I think I got a Alabama came calling, and I'm going to go to Alabama. I'm going to
none of them have to sign early. They can wait till February anyhow. You don't have to do this. You don't have to say I'm signing today. You don't have to do that.
I agree. It just, if you look at this season, entering the season, time warp back to August. Was there any thought that Jimbo Fisher was going to be leaving Florida State? There was zero thought. It was Florida State against Alabama for a litmus test of where the two power programs are.
But that's why I say, fine, if something like that plays out, then you are no longer obligated to go to the school that you signed with in August. If you say, look, man, I signed up for one thing. This guy just hauled ass for $75 million. Well, all right, cool. You're free to go wherever you go. It'd be interesting. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you get to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. If you do miss something, remember, you can find it. We post it online upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Email the show if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow, WTSM app for your mobile devices. That's a good thing. And we're on YouTube there. You can tell it's almost baseball season in my head, Tom. I got my Pirates gear on. We're only 58 days away from pitchers and catchers.
Oh, my God.
I know nobody else's head is there.
Oh, no. Especially no fans of MLB in the state of Florida.
Oh, my God. Goodness gracious. What a brutal thing. Hey, I'm gonna pimp myself for a second. And bear with me. That includes you, Tom.
That includes. Oh, God, never mind. Never mind. I'm going to change what I was going to say, so I'll just be quiet now.
Well, no, I want everybody to know on the 26th of December, I'm going to be on nationally on ESPNU Radio, Sirius XM, channel 84. That's what I think it is in my car. I don't know what it is in other people's cars. 352, or I'm just making that up. But it's the ESPNU Radio. I'm going to be hosting a show there, and I look forward to it. Should be good. I'm going to be hosting the first team. I'm filling in along with Charles Arbuckle and replacing Taylor and I don't remember Taylor's last name. Sorry, Taylor. And Greg McElroy, who does it with them. Yeah, I'll be hosting that on the 26th. So the reason I tell you that is we're on today and we're on tomorrow, but we're not on Friday, and we got days off after that. So want to get it out there. If you want to tune in to your Sirius XM, you'll hear me hosting. That's the kind of fun and games we have around here these days.
That pimps me how?
It doesn't pimp you at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it pimps me without question. So that's on the 26th, and I look forward to it. It'll be fun. It's 7 in the morning, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Oh, there you go. Right in your wheelhouse.
Right and early, buddy. We've been up a couple of hours, already had a few cups of coffee, be ready to roll. I wonder who I'm going to talk to. I wonder who we're going to get. I got to book some guests. Anybody, since I have a national flair on that particular show, that you think I should get?
Yeah, Tom Lang, college football analyst.
Let's go to Tom. He's in Tampa.
Oh, good morning, guys.
Wow. Yeah, good to be with you. Thanks
Happy
for having
holidays.
me, as
Hope
always.
you guys, the family are doing well.
Yeah, what's on the mind, Jeff?
Oh, just family. But football's on the mind, too, isn't it?
Charles, anything you want me to give you insight to? Yeah. Well, Tom, actually, yeah, no, I don't know, maybe I should use the opportunity to reach out to Chip Kelly. Get Chip Kelly on the show.
Well, that's weird.
I know. Well, I gotta have balance. I gotta have balance. It's not just gonna be the South. It's not just gonna be the state of Florida. It's just not gonna be,
Hey there, Chip. How are you doing?
We got Willie Taggart on this hour. He's the head coach at Florida State University. If you did not hear my interview with Willie Taggart that ran in the 3 o'clock hour, well, you're in luck because you get to hear it this hour. And I do want to say I thoroughly enjoyed talking to Willie. Coach Taggart is pro's pro, making time for us and understanding that he needed to talk to the Noles that are out there listening to this thing, either live right now, streaming on the computer, terrestrial radio, or later on during a podcast. He knows a lot of you will be tuning in and wanted to catch up and talk a little bit with him. So it's our first on the Jeff Cameron Show, first interview with the new coach and Willie Taggart, and I did that this morning. He made time on a day where you got to imagine he's incredibly busy.
Coming off a night where he was busy, too, because there were some 11th hour talks with kids that were, perhaps going to sign with Florida State, maybe not. I know Emory Jones, who ended up penning his name on a UF LOI. He was somebody that was committed to Ohio State, quarterback, 4-star, and Florida State came in very, very, very late to the process. No familiarity with the university really at all, and Florida State nearly pulled his services. I'm sure that's somebody that Willie was working the phones to talk to, but, you've said it today and will continue to say it. I heard it on headlines, too. The word salvage with this recruiting class. That was the job. That was the mandate. He doesn't have his whole staff, and this is just part one of this recruiting cycle. But Willie's had to do a lot of work, a lot of makeup work in a short amount of time here.
Yeah, and I think today, if you're just tuning in, you're wondering, where's Florida State going to finish with all of this? By the way, they may get after we're off the air tonight, Jaden Woodbay, a lot of people believe he will, in fact, sign with Florida State. He's a big-time safety.
Had no relationship with Florida State coaches until Willie Taggart took over. Yet, he had put out there quite publicly that he wanted to be at Florida State to be the next Jalen Ramsey type. So, he's only a 5-star.
Yeah, it's an important player to get, especially when you're going to be limited on what you can do. I mean, this is it's a tough go right now for Florida State because he was put in an untenable position, and I'm suppose that people, when they hear that he's a great recruiter, which he is, that he's capable of working miracles, but it just doesn't work that way. If you've not been in on kids, developing relationships with certain kids, and other schools have, and then you get to a place and you got to find a way to make up that time and somehow get a kid to buy into your vision when you don't have your staff in place just yet, and other guys that you want to bring in here are coaching bowl games right now. It's just very difficult. And you'll hear later this hour, bottom of the hour, in fact, from Willie Taggart, about that process. Now, we're not able at the time that we talked. We talked about Robert Cooper, the big-time defensive tackle that did commit, was the first signee of the Willie Taggart era. We did talk about the importance of getting him in here. He was one of his first visits. Willie knew, got to get this guy in the fold. But you'll hear that James Cook, Dalvin Cook's brother, did not flip to Florida State. He remained with Georgia. Tom just mentioned Emory Jones, the quarterback who was committed to Ohio State, and then was a kid that
Florida took. He actually, Ohio State, even though he was committed to Ohio State, had stopped because they knew he wasn't actually going to take.
Right, a lot of people knew it was going to come down to us or Florida.
Right,
but Florida had a distinct advantage here by all accounts.
Dan Mullen, had a relationship with the kid at his previous stop, so it was a familiar name, just not in the same place. He also, I think he made a quick stop into Tuscaloosa, but Alabama didn't really feel like they had a great chance. So it came down to Florida and Florida State just days after people considered it to be 100% Florida. That's how that worked. It wasn't like it was a 50-50 battle.
Right.
We tried to swoop in for his services, and it just didn't work out that way.
Yeah, and Florida State got the commitment from Christian Armstrong, the big offensive tackle. He is signed with Florida State now. I guess what I'm getting at between Robert Cooper and these guys that you see signed up, there's going to be a dearth of players. You're not going to see a bunch of names today and tomorrow. I don't think. I think for a lot of the kids. For Willie, it's about getting kids to maybe delay the decision. Like the real wins today, to me, will be less about flipping a kid at the last second and getting a kid to go from, say, Alabama or Ohio State or Florida to Florida State, and more about trying to get the kid that is really almost a sure thing at one of these other places to just hold off a little bit. Just let's wait, give us a chance. Maybe in February, make that decision. Let me talk to you. Let me get you over here and take a look at what we're doing here in building.
Yeah, I don't think this would have been as frantic. I mean, I know it wouldn't have been as frantic a couple of weeks for Willie had it not been for the early signing period. If this was traditional February signing day, he could take his time, name his staff, make some phone calls, but he wouldn't have to get on the plane like he does right now. Certainly you'd want to visit early enrollees. There's no doubt about that. And that's been something for a long time. Get the kid on campus around January, and he would have visited those targets. But to look at kids that might still be summer enrollment candidates and they want to make their decision now because they don't want to have to worry about it the next semester, that's where he really had to work the phones as hard as he possibly could. It's just another layer of stress for Coach Taggart when he came in here without, all of his staff intact. And that's one of the more interesting things. It's towards the end of the interview, but you ask him directly about when do you want your staff to be filled out. And I found that answer interesting in the hints, subtle hints, subtext, and just the outright, deadline that Willie wanted to put on when he believes his staff will be filled.
Yeah, an opportunity to hear that here coming up. By the way, as for what you can expect over the next coming, the coming days, again, obviously, Amari Gainer's in the fold. We're waiting on Isaiah Bolden. That's a guy that, by the way, it was us or Oregon, and Willie coming here, it looks like we're going to get him. this is not going to be a situation where Willie is able to take a class that had fallen in the rankings to the 70s and turn it into a top 10 class. I don't think. It doesn't look that way.
So we're changing the over-under. It's probably going to be outside the top 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it somewhere in the top 20.
Okay.
I'm going to say if he can get this thing into the top 20, then you have really almost seemingly worked a miracle based on what we're hearing about what wasn't being done at the end of the Jimbo Fisher era.
And it seems like each day passes, we hear just a little bit more about how many kids that wanted and were interested to hear from Florida State really weren't, there were no responses to their questions. And that stinks. However, if you do get the 5-star Woodbay tonight, you're going to shoot back up the rankings to something that resembles where we should be instead of something that makes you aghast at where we are.
I've always been of the belief that you can suffer through a down year. I mean, you can't have too many of them in a row. As long as you're getting your ducks in a row and you're getting things organized, you'll be all right. I mean, you'll have an opportunity to bounce back. One good thing, if we're going to talk about what Jimbo didn't do at the end, we can at least talk about what he did do prior to this season, which was really recruit exceptionally well and stock the cupboard full of real talented players. So there are plenty of good players here. You got to deal with the results of whatever this recruiting period holds for us, and then go from there. And I think that moving forward, you're not going to really have to worry about this issue at all.
What I'll be fascinated to see here in the next 6 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is now for signing day, is a quarterback. Emory Jones was somebody that we were in on late. The Penix kid who signed with Indiana today, he was a 3-star, but we were thought to be the leader for a while there. We kind of cooled off on him. It's a question now. I mean, are we bringing in any quarterbacks this class? You would have to find somebody late. And the question is, how high profile would that kid be? Is it just somebody that we use as a safety net? Or is it somebody that we could see actually, as a starter here at Florida State for the next couple of years? It'll be fascinating. That's a longer talking point with spring camp and fall camp about who his quarterback's going to be and how he's going to manage the offense. But I just wonder if on signing day we'll have a quarterback name or two committed to us.
You know what's funny? This is every year, whether it's an early signing period or just a normal signing period in February. I always crack up, man, the idea that negative recruiting, quote-unquote negative recruiting. For some reason, my phone thinks that I wanted to find something for me and just started yelling at me because I'm loud. Does your phone do that?
Sometimes, I
guess.
Siri,
does Siri come on and say, I could not find what you were looking for?
Well, I don't have the
I'm
Siri.
not looking for anything.
I turned off the Siri voice command, where you can say Siri without hitting a button and she turns on and listens to you.
I didn't know that was possible.
That is possible.
That's how they get you, Tom. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that was even in there.
Searching for adult entertainment.
No,
what the hell?
I'm talking about recruiting.
No.
Not that kind of recruiting.
Yeah.
I always crack up.
Talking about the Rockettes, man.
I always crack up when you hear the term negative recruiting. Did you see the story that Jackson Carman, the big offensive lineman that was committed to Ohio State that now flipped and went to Clemson, unfortunately, that Dabo Swinney may have discussed Ohio State coaches Urban Meyer's future with him, and then he admitted that he weighed heavily the thought that Urban Meyer may not be at Ohio State, according to...
Really?
Well played, sir. I want my coach saying things like that. That's right. Make it up as you go along. It's all nonsense anyhow. Quote, when you recruit, you evaluate everything about a program. I can't recall specifically, but it sounds like something that may have come up when we talked about coaches elsewhere, said Swinney. So he doesn't deny after the kid says, well, Coach Swinney told me that Urban Meyer wasn't going to be at Ohio State much longer, so I decided to go to Clemson. Swinney's asked about it. He says, well, I can't recall. I mean, when you evaluate a program, certainly you mention certain things. In fact, he goes on to say, I'm a guy that's been here for 15 years, and there are obvious differences when you compare coaches if they're at different stages in life. In recruiting, you talk about anything and everything that a recruit wants to talk about.
Dabo's gone to the dark side, at least publicly. That's interesting. But if you're going to do it to Urban Meyer, right? And Urban came back today, I saw, and he said, we don't negatively recruit, ever.
Oh, nonsense. Get the hell out of here, man. That is ridiculous. I love it. Swinney said, sometimes you sign guys that check every box. They just show up, and you go, wow, that's what he is. He's 350 pounds and can move. He's a very physical player. He's the #1 ranked player in Ohio. Oh, my man's going Steve Spurrier on Urban Meyer.
Well, good, #1. #2, between that and what Lane Kiffin's doing on a daily basis now, characters might be returning to the game. Just a couple of them, but we need a couple of them.
How about my boy going for 2 last night, up 30, whatever the hell that was.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor, can give you the #1 year-end deal. Let us show you how to get tax savings on the toughest tractors on earth and get up to $7,400 in discounts along with Mahindra's 7-year warranty. Plus, get an Emax 22 with mid-mower for just $134 a month.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachian Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
This Christmas season, when you buy any golf cart at TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, they'll deliver it for free. That's right, free delivery within a 50-mile radius of Thomasville and TNT Supercenter. That includes Tallahassee and Valdosta. You know what? It gets even better. This Christmas season, when you purchase your cart at TNT Supercenter, you'll receive holiday discounts up to 30% off on all your accessories. We're talking major discounts on wheels, tires, lifts, seats, you name it, on everything you need to customize and personalize your new golf cart. TNT Supercenter has new carts, pre-owned carts, club car and Yamaha carts, even Star EV carts. And when you buy today at TNT Supercenter, they'll deliver it for free within a 50-mile radius of Thomasville. You listen in Valdosta? Did you hear me, Tallahassee? Free delivery on over 150 carts in stock with huge discounts on accessories. Only at TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to the Dairy Queen in Thomasville. View inventory and pricing at TNTSupercenter.com.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left!
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
It is Beer 30. There you go. Raw intro. Hey, so actually, this is a short segment because I got to get the hell out of the way so you guys can listen to my interview with Willie Taggart. That's right. Florida State head football coach Willie Taggart going to join us next. But in the interim, let me tell you about this goodness. Craft beer stockings are back. you thought, well, they never went away, did they, Jeff? But they did. They did. They do every holiday season. Then they come back. 3 options, 2 prizes. All include 3 fantastic brews and a $25 gift card, pre-wrapped and stuffed in a stocking. So for you guys and gals that like to imbibe, there you go.
Or your friend at the office who does. You're like, what the hell do I get Rich? You know? Wait a minute, Rich loves craft beer.
And he could get some St. Bernardus Christmas Ale, New Belgium Accumulation White IPA, Stone Chacavezeca Mexican Chocolate Stout, or Tool Santa Ghost with passion fruit, mango, and guava, and a $25 gift card. Only $40, all pre-wrapped and ready to go. I don't think I pronounced the Stone Chacoveza properly until just now when I said Chacoveza.
Yeah.
It's the Chacoveza Mexican. I made it Italian and I added some stuff. Syllables. But it's good tasting beer. You get the drift, 2 different types of stockings and all that goodness. Also, did you see this? You can upgrade for $10 more and get that aforementioned Stone Chacoveza and Yule Cognac and Sherry Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. Woo!
Whoa.
Woo!
That is interesting.
That's like the scotch we were talking about the other day.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's got a 15% ABV.
One would think it would. That makes sense.
Take it to the house.
If it was 2%, that would be weird.
Take it to the house and a $25 gift card. Come in today for your holiday gift needs or just take a break from shopping and treat yourself at the 7th Hill Tap Room. There's your Beer 30 ad.
That's right.
And it's a good one.
It's pre-done for you, people. Who doesn't like pre-done gifts?
You know, yesterday, and I know we're going to break, but yesterday I had to go to the Target on Appalachia Parkway.
Yes, that's near where I live.
I'd rather shoot myself in the face. I don't think I'm ever going back.
Oh, really?
That particular Target's got an issue. There's just too many damn people there. It's ridiculous.
What time did you go?
Well, headlines ran yesterday, so I had time to get out of here early and go pick up some things that I needed to get. And I've been to other Targets. That particular one annoys the hell out of me every time I'm there. It's not the Target employees or the Target store itself. Like, whatever.
Well, the parking lot is also a death trap.
It's insane. Yeah. It's insane, and everybody's angry and in a hurry. It's just awful. It's the worst of consumerism when I'm there. I walk in and I go, oh, I should leave here. I shouldn't be here. Like, I immediately feel like this is soul sapping.
Right. And then, well, also, if you go in the actual traffic light, that's where the non-secular chicken is sold. And usually that lot is completely full and it has cars spilling out into the entrance. So
because of the crack that they put in the non-secular chicken.
That's correct. The brown sugar. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I am proud of you. It's the Jeff Cameron Show. Willie Taggart is up next. He's the head coach at Florida State, and I talked to him today, and he was pleasant to talk to. You'll hear it on the Jeff Cameron Show in about 3 minutes or so. Hang in.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the makers of the toughest utility vehicles on Earth, can give you the best year-end deal on Earth. So let us show you how to get tax savings on your new Mahindra XTV and get cash back and savings up to $2,500 on select clearance models. Plus, get a free roof and Mahindra's 3-year warranty.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Best selling based on 2016 sales. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 72 months at $13.89 per month per $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Not available on Ford GT, Fiesta, Focus RS, Mustang GT 350, 350R, F-150 Raptor, or Super Duty. Take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by January 2nd, 2018. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This day in sports history. December 20th, 1985. Howard Cosell, the outspoken sports commentator audiences love to hate, quit his job at ABC Television after 20 years. Cosell rose to fame doing commentary for Muhammad Ali's biggest matches, the Olympics, and anchoring the first iteration of Monday Night Football. Cosell was inducted into the Broadcaster Hall of Fame in 2007.
It's that time of year again where you have to shop for the naughty and the nice. Make it easy. Superlube it and get rewarded with a free oil change. Right now, visit any of the 19 area Superlube locations, buy 3 oil changes, and get 1 free. Keep it or give that free oil change to a car lover on your list. Hurry in and make shopping easy with a free oil change from Superlube. You'll be glad you did.
They change my oil in just 10 minutes. Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Let me start this segment by thanking our friends at the Metro Deli. Have you been to the Metro Deli? They're awesome. Guys are really good people that work there, that run that own that. Tom and I, when we were at the old station, more frequently made our way to the Metro Deli downtown because it was so close, and I miss it. I do. It's one of the things I miss about the old location. Their food is delicious. Their service is great. And the people, again, are the best. And I want to thank them for sponsoring my interview. It's a special interview with Willie Taggart. We got him today early. They came on board to sponsor that. And they're good people. Go to, if you've never been to the Metro Deli, it's right there on Monroe, downtown, heart of downtown, in fact.
Yeah, it's right next to Park. Drive around noon, and you'll see a line out a door. And that's the place. That's the line out their door. The Metro Deli. But they get you quick. It's a quick, bam, bam, bam.
You're in and out. And I get the tomato spinach, like turkey grinder or whatever. It's really good.
Yeah, the grinders. They got grinders. They got wraps. They got whatever you want. Sloppy Joes some days. I don't know.
Sloppy Joe. Yeah, they do.
But good deli meats.
Yeah. So, no, the food's great. And I can't say enough great things about them. Anyhow, listen, I want to, because you'll hear this and you'll think, it's a little off if you missed it in the 3 o'clock hour. So I talked to Willie Taggart this morning, and he made time for us on an extremely busy day. Since Willie's been hired, obviously I've been angling for this interview. And I want to thank Derek over at FSU. He's been on the job for about a year now, but obviously has really gotten to know the pieces of the puzzle around here. And I was at the press conference for Willie, and afterwards walked up to Derek and said, listen, I know that guy is swimming right now. He's got a million things he's got to do, including hiring a staff and getting on the road to recruit. But the second he can breathe, and I'm going to be pushy on this, I need Coach Taggart, because he gets a chance to address Noles throughout the state and all over the country via the podcast and on this program locally. And it's important we talk to him. And it's important Noles get to hear from him. And people in general who just love college football and like the kind of insight that coaches bring to a show. So he worked hard, and Willie made time for us this morning on a busy day, early signing period, all of that. So we want to thank him, and we want to thank, again, Derek, and I want to thank the folks at the Metro Deli for sponsoring it. This is me and Willie Taggart. Earlier today, I only bring up one recruit that had signed at the time. Trench Monster had made his way in. It only seems fitting that he had because, I kind of spoke that into existence just a little over a week ago. We have a long history on the Jeff Cameron Show of making sure the defensive tackles say yes, especially the monsters at like 350 pounds like this kid.
It was like once we got to the FM dial, it really
changed things.
Something about the defensive interior,
Made it happen, man. Had to make it happen, and I'm pleased about it. So we only bring up the one recruit. But we get into the process and his offensive evolution and all this other stuff. It's a great interview. Enjoy it. Here's Willie Taggart and myself this morning, as brought to you by our friends at Metro. I was at your press conference, so I know it doesn't get old for you to hear Florida State head football coach Willie Taggart. How great is that, right?
It's awesome. It's awesome to be the head football coach here. And I tell you now, it still hadn't hit me yet, that I'm the – and I don't think it will here until some of this stuff slow down, just been on the go, and really hadn't had any time to reflect on anything. But it's great to be here. It's great when you go out and so many people are excited about you being here. And it's also good when you can go into school and you have that Seminole on your shirt. It makes it a lot easier. You kind of get up to the front of the line now, and there's no more parade waving anymore.
Yeah, you're talking to Noles all across this great state and all across the country right now, Coach, and they love to hear you say that, and they love to hear, as you put it in the press conference, you're on the right side of that train now. And I know you can't talk about the recruits that haven't signed, but this is an interesting time. You talk about how busy you've been. I will talk about somebody that has, and Robert Cooper, the defensive tackle, your first recruit, your first signee, and how important was it to get him into the fold during this process?
It was huge. He's a great football player, and I think we all know when if you're trying to win a championship, it starts in the trenches. And to get a guy of his caliber to stay committed to us and join us and be a part of this was really big for us. It was so important. One of the guys I had to get out and see ASAP. As we continue to build this recruiting class up, he was top notch, but he's a kid that always wanted to be here too, and he showed that. He's a great kid.
How difficult has it been, Coach, to transition at a time in which you do have this new early signing period that's been put into place? You have the challenge of that, trying to salvage a class, for lack of a better term, but also, of course, you're having to put together your staff on the go, and we're in bowl season. There's just so much going on, and as you said, you had to hit the ground running. Take us through this transition. How difficult has that been?
It's tough, just because it's something new, and until you go through it, you don't necessarily know the ins and outs on how you want to really do certain things. But usually when you come in, you try to evaluate your current roster to see what you need, and then you have time, to go out there and find your needs. Where now it's really tough, and then when you find some new guys, it's hard because you hadn't really built the relationship with them. So that part of it makes it a lot tougher than usual. But it is what it is. You live, you learn, and you adjust. Kind of like in football, it's sudden change, and you keep it moving. So, but I go back to Florida State is Florida State. A lot of kids grow up and want to be here. I think right now it's just a matter of who the coaches are, who's going to be able to coach them, and those kids want to know that, and rightfully so. And you want to do right by them, and make sure that they have all the answers. So I think a lot of kids will hold off because of all the uncertainty across the country with coaches, and it's probably the right thing for a lot of them to do.
We're talking with Florida State head football coach Willie Taggart on the Jeff Cameron Show. And Coach, you've mentioned that in recruiting, it's your job to recruit over players, in a sense, and it's their job to try to keep their job, obviously. And I think it's fascinating at a time like this. We're talking about recruiting, obviously. It's a fascinating way to put it because you obviously have to connect with kids to be able to convince them, especially when right now you're having to sell your vision. We don't have a staff completely in place, and so you have to sell your vision. Just had a big recruiting weekend, and you got to connect with guys on a real level, and yet you're telling them straight up that I'm looking for the guy that's going to replace you. I guess take us through your recruiting philosophy, how you're able to do that. We all know certainly that relationship is that you wouldn't be in that young man's living room if he wasn't also going to be an asset to the program, and yet you have to connect on a real level. So I guess just talk about that process and your philosophy in recruiting.
Well, I told our current guys, and I always tell our recruits, my job is to recruit guys to come take their jobs, and it's on them to keep their jobs. And I think we all realize that's what it takes to play in the NFL. All these kids want to play in the NFL, but it also makes your team better from a competitive standpoint. You know, guys got to understand that they can't take a day off, or that guy behind them is plenty good enough to come in and take their jobs. And the kids out of high school, they want to come and play, and these kids are so much more developed than what they were back in the days. And when you say that, you also have to give them an opportunity to come in and take somebody's job. So I think it's fair to everyone, and one thing I pride myself on is not allowing the kid to blame me for them not playing. You know, they're going to have an opportunity, and it's going to be on them to go out and compete and earn the right to be the starting the starting player, or earn the right to go take someone's job. So, and it usually works for us. You know, kids like being open and honest, and also they like the fact that there's no favoritism. You know, the best man going to play.
Coach, it's interesting. I look back at your career, both as a player, for people that don't know, when you ended your career as a player, you basically led what is now the FCS. You left as the all-time leading rusher, and as a quarterback. And so people know that obviously you saw the importance in making a defense defend all 11 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I've seen over your career you've done it both ways. You know, some people kind of maybe associate a kind of a power run game with Jim Harbaugh. You're connected to Jack Harbaugh and Jim Harbaugh and those guys. And yet, so you leave Western Kentucky after turning them around. You don't immediately run tempo and spread things out at USF, but you adjust after a tough season, and then you get them turned around. And then last year at Oregon, that's even faster than what you ran at USF. I guess, can you take us through that period, your offense, the evolution of your offensive philosophy?
Well, we, when I went to South Florida and we struggled the first 2 years scoring points, and felt like we have some talent, especially the second year. They were young. You know, the first year it was tough, but the second year we had some talent. They were young, and then the games that we did score points in and we won, we were in 2-minute mode. And for me, it was like our guys were screaming to me that, Coach, we need to go faster. We need to do these things. You know, so that off season, we went out and studied a lot of teams that were doing up tempo. We studied Auburn, Clemson, Oregon, Ole Miss, Baylor, and what we ended up doing is kind of put it all together, you know, and came up with what we wanted to do with the offense, but also keeping some of the pro style principles, the West Coast principles, in place as well, and kind of all put it together, and it worked out tremendously for us. It allowed the athletes that you have to be in space, and it put the defense in a predicament to where they got to try to defend one or the other. You can't do both, and if you got the pieces in place, you can take advantage of a lot of the mismatch that you have. And it's been good for us. Having one of the most explosive offenses over the last 3 years has been good, and it's really been good because you went to two different places and did it. So it's been fun, and it's simple, and it allows our guys to play fast and putting our athletes in space.
And I would imagine, Coach, I know that right now you haven't been able to do it necessarily, but that's what you're going to want to apply here, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it just works, and the beauty of it, you don't have to have a certain kind of player in order to run the offense. You know, and which was key for me personally is that you don't have to be a dual threat to run the offense. You know, as a quarterback. Because it can help one way or another. We just find the right pieces and put the offense around the guys that we have, you know. But I do know here and after watching some practices, we have some toys to work with.
Yeah, you got to obviously be excited about all the shiny new toys that you see out there, and obviously you're in the process of trying to bring in some more. Have you been able to, you brought a practice, have you been able to, or even wanted to yet, I guess, implement new concepts, if not physically, like I guess for mental reps, or are you just staying away from that until the bowl game's over?
Well, I'm staying away from it until the bowl game over. You know, I go out and practice and watch and just fantasize about what we can do with some of these guys out here, you know. And some of the guys ask me, when can we put the offense in? And I told them we got to finish this season off strong, you know. And it's a big time bowl game for us coming up, and expect for those guys to go out and play the way that Florida State's supposed to play, you know, and end this season in a great way, and have some positive momentum going into the off season.
So no changes, nothing in terms of situational drills or anything at this point?
No, not at all. You know, I'm in an evaluation process and evaluating everyone, and it's actually been great. You get a chance to do that from players and coaches. You know, you get to evaluate guys and actually see them work rather than coming and getting on the board and trying to tell you something. You can actually see exactly how they do things. So it's been fun watching and being able to evaluate your team. Usually you don't get this opportunity. At least I haven't yet. And it's been the first time where I've taken over a program where we're in a bowl game. So it's been fun. Been a fun adjustment for me.
Final thing, Coach, and we're talking to Willie Taggart, head football coach at Florida State University here on the Jeff Cameron Show. When do you envision, of course, people get anxious, especially from afar. They see, gosh, the staff's not completely in place yet, and I'll talk on the air and say, well, you know, there are bowl games still going on. There are coaches still at their respective schools. So I guess, do you have a kind of a ballpark idea as to when you expect the staff to be completed?
I like to have the staff completed by the new year. You know, and like you said, there's a lot of guys that we're looking at and that are interested that are still in bowl games, and there's some guys that I know will be joining us soon. But I hope to have our staff completed by the new year. You know, but it's really important that we get the right fit in here for Florida State University, and not just any and everybody to come in here. So. Got to get the right fit. Got to get guys that's going to be great mentors to our players, and guys that want to be here, and guys that's going to embrace what Florida State is all about.
Coach, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I know we'll get to do it again here down the line. I know it's an incredibly busy day for you. I wish you the best of luck, and it's great to have you on the Jeff Cameron Show, Coach Taggart, and we'll talk again soon. Best of luck.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Jeff, and go Noles, and have a great day if you want to, buddy.
Absolutely. Take care, Coach. Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye. That's Willie Taggart, head football coach at Florida State University, his maiden voyage on the Jeff Cameron Show, which for me is an honor, and it's a pleasure to talk to him. I look forward to do so frequently as we move forward. We'll come back and let's let that sit for a second and comment on it momentarily. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, only Mahindra, the world's #1 selling tractor, can give you the #1 year-end deal. Let us show you how to get tax savings on the toughest tractors on earth and get up to $7,400 in discounts along with Mahindra's 7-year warranty. Plus, get an Emax 22 with mid-mower for just $134 a month.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
US 19 South in Thomasville and at TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
It's that time of year again where you have to shop for the naughty and the nice. Make it easy. Super Lube it and get rewarded with a free oil change. Right now, visit any of the 19 area Super Lube locations, buy 3 oil changes, and get 1 free. Keep it or give that free oil change to a car lover on your list. Hurry in and make shopping easy with a free oil change from Super Lube. You'll be glad you did.
They change my oil in just 10 minutes. Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Super Lube my car, lube my car. How I love to Super Lube my car. Yes, sir.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Played. Good mood today, man. I know a lot of people are greatly concerned, but you figured this would be a salvaging effort with the recruiting class. There's still time. We'll see what happens by Friday. And in the interim, I think you're just hoping like hell that certain guys maybe that you're looking at that were committed elsewhere will delay and push back till February. I think that's ultimately the goal. Obviously, you'd love to get more people signing on the line, which is dotted, but, this was always going to be a brutal task. I will say, and, we read that email earlier in the show, really does represent the way a lot of people feel right now. I'm talking about AJ's email, where the frustration begins to emerge from folks who realize that, the previous staff just stopped doing their job, period, and has really made this a very difficult task. So that's what he's up against, and some of the frustrations you feel today are a direct result of that. I'm still really hopeful. It's interesting. I talked to 2 people today that cover recruiting, and they believe that, basically Florida State's doing what they thought would happen, and that, it was going to be a tall task, and we'll see what happens by Friday, and hang in there, and there's still February and all that other stuff. And then also that Florida State's in a real good position because, and you just heard from Willie right there, the guy has supreme confidence and charisma, and I think is going to do extremely well moving forward in recruiting. And listen, I'm not a recruitnik, and on a day where, if that's your be-all, end-all, if that's the thing outside of the games themselves you're most invested in, well, you don't get everybody you want. You get disappointed, and especially if you're not accustomed to being anywhere near, let's say, the top 20, and you're not, you're thinking, well, good Lord. But when you talk to other people about what he is, they say, don't worry about it. Long-term, FSU is going to hit a home run year in and year out recruiting. He'll be the most phenomenal recruiter in the state. Don't worry about that. And I'm really not, because I think what was interesting, Tom, in that discussion, and we talked about it in the 3 o'clock hour after we got done listening to the interview, it is very apparent Willie is all on board with playing fast. And so why do I bring that up? Well, I'm most interested to see what this looks like and how this plays here at FSU. On the one hand, I've got all kinds of hope that, once this gets implemented, you get to see these great athletes in space making plays left and right and not waiting forever and a day to get on the damn football field. That's the upside here, is that if you can play and you come here ready-made and you can get on the field, you're going to get on the field and you're going to play. The downside is that we know offenses like this don't always play well to their defense. It's not always complimentary football. But at the same time, these offenses now, were back in the day, I used to call this gimmicky. I used to say you really can't win with this. There were only a couple offenses in the country were doing it at that time. They had never really won anything. We've since seen that that's simply not true, that those teams can win and have won, and that includes national championships. Okay, it's going to be the polar opposite, frankly, of what you just saw for the last several years.
Yeah, and if you give me a long-term, outlook, a chance to weigh in on that, I'll be interested to see how many defensive players, blue chippers, are interested in coming here if we're going to be running that type of offense long-term. I just want to see what kind of platform are they given to succeed, or are they going to be run ragged every week and this place doesn't become a top destination because kids know, well, we're going to be on the field for 80 plays ourselves every week. And, if we're giving up 30 points a week, is that really the best place for me to, show my skills? Because there's no doubt about it. The reputation of Florida State right now, even if we're not coaching them up the way we'd like, defensive players love coming here because guess what happens? If they're good, they go to the next level, and they're really good at the next level. I mean, it's a pipeline here. Every week, there's a Pro Football Focus metric about a different Florida State defensive back or defensive player that is taking names while doing it.
You can certainly argue the best two corners in all of football are both Florida State guys over the last few years, Xavier Rhodes and Jalen Ramsey.
Right, and Ronald Darby is no slouch either. Last year, he was graded as number 2 against the run or number 1 with Xavier Rhodes, and obviously LaMarcus Joyner's having a breakout year for the Rams too. I mean, the list can go on and on. I just wonder what it's going to look like as a destination spot for different positions moving forward. But this is one of the changes we wanted. So it's the grand experiment. If you have the athletes that Florida State does and you can score 40 to 50 points a game, might you just be in a position to win a hell of a lot more games, period, no matter what happens. So that's the fun of it, right? Isn't that the fun of having a new coach?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm excited. I will tell you that I did talk to Willie Taggart off the air, and I thoroughly enjoyed that conversation as well. So it was interesting. He's a guy who quite clearly is very, very, and as it should be, but it's just nice to hear it. It is clearly excited to be here. I mean, you get a sense when you talk to him, whether it's an interview on the record, being recorded, that he knows everybody's going to hear, or you're just talking to him in private and having a conversation before you hit the record button. Either way, it's the same level of enthusiasm and sincerity regarding his passion and excitement for being a Florida State Seminole. And that's a big damn deal. It is. If you're it is. And I think it resonates with kids. Like, that's not a fake sort of come here because I'm here. This is Florida State, son. You have a chance to play for Florida State. Like, that's, I get it. These kids get recruited by other great schools, and they can say something similar, if not the same. But I like knowing that connection is there, that feeling is there for him, from him. You can sense it as soon as you talk to him.
Well, and again, I get it that we're here at the early signing period, and it's not about this most previous weekend where there were mixed results. But to a man, every kid that walked out of the athletic center on Sunday or Monday, man, they were talking about the vibe at Florida State being fundamentally different. It's fundamentally different here, and there's excitement that comes with that. If you succeed, man, that's only going to build upon itself. It's going to turn into its own lore here at FSU, this chapter. But success has to come with it. Does it have to in 2018 in a big way? No. But this is going to be quite the ride because the approach, again, not just with recruiting, but on the field, it is fundamentally different. It's a grand experiment here in Tallahassee. The good news is we're going to have the athletes to execute it with. There'll be no excuses. None.
Yeah, it's funny today. I think more than anything else, you know how I am about a lot of this stuff with skill position guys. I don't get as caught up in all of that. I don't worry. Like if somebody gets a receiver that I wish we would have had, I can live with it. The ones that hurt when you don't get linemen, man, this is about defensive and offensive linemen. I know the other guys are important, and you got to have a quarterback, et cetera. Everybody's got that. I'm not as worried about that right now because there are players on this roster that you could get by with a hiccup even this year in recruiting just with the transition. What I hate is when I see, a Jackson Carman deciding to go to Clemson today after having been an Ohio State lean for all this time. Damn it, man, with that again. That has to stop. That's where Florida State's going to have to make inroads. That's where Willie and his staff are going to have to make inroads.
You keep Odell, you should be okay on that side of the football. It's about the offensive line, isn't it? I mean, it's defensive coordinator, offensive line coach, and how are we going to be able to develop on the former end of that equation, and how are we going to be able to recruit on the latter end of that equation?
Well, you're reminded on a day like this where you look out there at recruiting rankings and you get a little shook. You get a little shook because you don't see your name anywhere. You see Ohio State and you see Georgia and you see Penn State, Miami, Texas, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Auburn, Alabama, Oregon, all these places. And you're like, Still no. Where are we? Why is Maryland ahead of us? You start doing that, and you can get panicked. You can get caught up too much in that. At the same time, over the last several years, every time we looked at those rankings, there was Florida State right there in the top 5. And, we were 5-6. Had to reschedule a game to get to 6-6.
Didn't have a full staff to go, talk to these kids. Not just when Willie got hired, but, before that too.
Apparently. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. To those that called and or listened, surely do appreciate it. The Front Row Noles. That's what's coming up next. Stay with us. Good stuff as always there. Take care. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.